-10. For tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud and a high of -4. Wednesday, partly sunny, breezy and a high of -2. Thursday, mostly cloud and a high of -1. And then Friday, cloudy and a high of -2.
B&A Petroleum is a Southern Saskatchewan family-owned business that's there for you. They've been supporting their clients for over 30 years with locations in several communities throughout the southern part of the province. B&A Petroleum is available for all your bulk fuel and lubricant needs with propane at selected locations Monday to Friday. And don't forget, their Cardlock location is accessible 24 hours for your convenience. B&A Petroleum. Fuel you once, fuel you forever.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Smoke'em Diesel in Regina. So you want to do it yourself? No problem. We sell injection pumps, injectors, and turbos to fit all your needs. Find us on Facebook today. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
To the Monday edition of the Sports Cage. Appreciate you taking the time for being here. Man, I love this time of year. Oh, we were on the plus side of things last week. Now we have all the potholes and the snow. Kind of a funny time of year, though. I was walking in earlier today. I saw someone, I kid you not, in shorts and slides and socks. On the other side of the street, there was someone dressed up in full-on winter jacket, toque, mitts, scarf. They both seemed to be completely comfortable. This is why we love Saskatchewan.
In slides?
But there was socks on. Socks and slides.
Them slides?
What do the kids call them, Dave? Am I wrong? Am I not hip anymore?
I believe my teenage brothers call them slides. So
See?
I think that is the correct terminology right now.
I'm in touch with the kids.
Fair enough.
See, we learned something new today.
I just refuse to go down that path, apparently. They're sandals, they're Birkenstocks, they're whatever.
Flip-flops?
Flip-flops is good.
Or flippity-flops, if you really want to get fancy.
Yeah. They're not the other term. That other term is underwear.
Yeah, let's not go there.
I'm leaving it there.
This is the last Monday show of March, which is hard to believe already, and it is snowing, and I think people are over it, but that's fine. That's
going
fine.
out like a lion. Isn't that what we're supposed to say? It's going out
Didn't you
like
tell
a
me
lion.
that was not a thing at the start of March?
I never ever believed it was a thing, but for those that follow along with the Lion Lamb calendar.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate. Well, drive safe out there. I'm Tegan Whitco, your Monday host of the Sports Cage, of course, joined by Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. And we got Colson Schultz on the controls, keeping us on the air and, of course, on the stream, sportscage.com, YouTube, and X as well. And all of our guests throughout the afternoon are going to be joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. It's the pizza known worldwide for a reason, loaded with toppings of Western Canadian ingredients and always cooked to perfection. So we will have Rob Mann joining us. Brandon Wheatkings, play-by-play. He had a marathon this weekend, over 4 hours of hockey in triple overtime on Friday night. Yikes. And then it went to overtime again yesterday.
Yeah,
so
right.
just in case he didn't have his fill, we're going to make the poor guy talk even more now.
That's right.
So thanks for doing that, Rob. He'll join us around 3:30. 4 o'clock this afternoon, 3 Down Nation's own JC Abbott was at the Combine in Edmonton over the weekend, and we're going to get his take, his input, because it's one thing to look at numbers on a piece of paper. It's another thing to actually be there in person.
True.
And see how these draft-eligible players looked on the field, because we're less than a month out from the CFL draft, which is crazy to think. Season's going to be here before you know it, but you're not going to hear me complaining. Clutch performer, sprinkle of the day. We got that coming up. Crofty going to join us as always. Darian Durant, the one and only, after 5. And then Brad Herauf will be joining us to talk a little Regina Pats hockey, because they evened up the series in Medicine Hat over the weekend, which is, I think a lot of people discounted this Regina Pats team.
A lot? Or the majority of?
The majority of.
Yeah, I would agree.
So they split the series, and now it's shifting back home. So that's exciting. 3 hours of talking sports here, and believe me, there is lots to talk about. I don't think we're even going to get to everything, because it was just an insane weekend in the world of sports. Strong start for the Jays early in the season. There's March Madness, of course, CFL Combine, and a pretty shocking coaching change in the NHL. Yeah.
That's a good word for it.
Shocking?
Yeah.
Shocking. Yeah.
'Cause there is that's the ultimate shock and awe campaign, if you will.
I think we might have to ask a couple of our guests about this today.
I think so.
We'll get to that in a minute. Also, you can join in the conversation anytime on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. And not to say I told you so, gentlemen, but I kind of told you so. Remember a couple weeks back we were talking about Prairie Land Rentals and their Husqvarna snow thrower dealers? I said they were going to come out again. Lo and behold, on my way to work today, multiple people out with their snow throwers. So I was, not to brag, but I was right.
You were right.
I was.
I am strong enough to say that you were right.
Okay. Well,
it happens quite frequently, so why not get used to it?
Thank you for being the bigger person here. Prairie Land Rentals, though, for your small power tools and all the way up to skid steers, they probably have what you need. You can deal with the owner right at 600 Albert Street. And yeah, maybe check out their snow throwers because you never know.
That's right.
This is Saskatchewan, after all. Where to start? WHL.
Okay.
Let's circle back here real quick. Blades and Oil Kings, that series all evened up at a game apiece. Mm-hmm. Brandon, Calgary, as we mentioned. There's a lot of hockey to play this weekend, so we're going to chat with Rob Mann about that a little bit later on. But Brandon is down 2-0 to Calgary in that series, so it's going to be really important going back into their home barn to see if they can pull off a win there. And then I don't know if you were following along with the Raiders and Rebels series.
Yeah. I think that one is the one that, out of all of the series so far, I think that's the one that should be most expected. That PA would hold serve at home and do it in a dominant style.
Well, and the crowd is showing up for them. I mean, woof. Game 2 final, 6-0.
Yeah.
Shots, 40-13.
Yeah.
Little lopsided.
The PA is such a well-rounded team. They won the East for a reason.
They're a powerhouse.
Showing why.
Yeah, they had their work cut out for them there. But the Pats, of course, split their first 2 games of the series in Medicine Hat. Dave Thomas was actually down at the Brand Center today, welcoming them back to the Queen City. They took game 2 against the defending champs, so they got to be feeling pretty good about themselves, considering they're going to be in front of their home crowd now for the next 2 nights, tomorrow and Wednesday. That game 1 loss, though, certainly motivating for some. And I know post-game, Brad Herauf had quite the comment to make there.
Yes. Well, it was actually the one comment that stood out was after game 2, right? So they played Taylor Tabashniak in game 1 in goal, and then they put Marek Schlenker in game 2. And to me, that's interesting because Schlenker was the team's MVP this year, right? They named him their own MVP.
Right.
And so there were some question marks, whether you should or whether you shouldn't. What are you going to do? And again, the man's got a plan. And so the plan was to put him in game 2, and there was no hard feelings.
I think Marek was huge. Obviously, we didn't start him game 1. He didn't blink an eye. I told him to go shove it up my today, and that's exactly what he did. So that's what we expected of our team MVP.
Oh, yeah. 21 saves on 23 shots in the 4-2 win for Marek Schlenker.
The big word is prove it, right? Mm-hmm. Prove me that I was wrong in not starting you in game 1. Prove me that I am right in starting you in game 2, and Marek Schlenker did both. And maybe not so much the whole game 1 thing.
Yeah.
But you got to make you got to make good on your opportunities. Marek Schlenker made good on his opportunities in game 2.
So, from a coach's perspective, you've coached your fair share of hockey. Would you ever use that line?
Prove me right. I use the word prove me right.
Okay.
I often prove me right, prove me wrong. I like to think that I'm right more than I'm wrong. But end of the day, and again, I have no insider's knowledge. Again, I was down listening and eavesdropping as best as I could today at Brand Center. And what I kind of took away was that if you think about it logistically, right, it makes sense. Taylor Tabashniak has had a heck of a season, and Marek Schlenker wasn't as strong as he had been down the stretch, whether that's fatigue, whether that's whatever else is going on, right? There's a million things that happen. Mm-hmm. But game number 1, nobody in their right mind is picking you to win, right? Best case scenario, you keep it close. And the Regina Pats, even though the score was 6-2, did that and then some in game number 1. And then game number 2 strolls along. Okay, now we're going to put in our MVP goaltender, and we're going to go out and we're going to win this hockey game. And the team and the goaltending, everybody responded. And again, game 1 wasn't a 6-2 hockey game. Mm-hmm. If the Pats had gone ahead and scored on a couple of opportunities they had, I thought Medicine Hat maybe got a couple of fortuitous bounces. And then, but again, like I say, it's just masterful. Okay, game 2, I'm going to put in our older guy, Put them between the pipes and let's steal a game tonight, gentlemen. And I think that's what they did.
That is what they did. And we're probably going to have to dive a little deeper into that when Brad Herauf, head coach of the Regina Pats, joins us a little bit later on in the show.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, hostile territory in Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
They got good crowds there. They have a very, very passionate fan base. But for one player in particular, I think it was especially hostile. Matty P.
Pleased to be joined by Regina Pats defenseman number 44, Matt Peranich. Matt, it was kind of a homecoming, if you will, this weekend, going back to the place that you played some junior hockey with the Medicine Hat Tigers. The boos came out as you opened your postseason with the Regina Pats. What was it like hearing that fan reaction?
Yeah, I know I wasn't really too focused on it, but it's a part of the game. You're going to get booed when you're in a away barn, and it's playoff hockey. It's going to happen. So, don't take any. I didn't take it to heart at all or anything like that, but just tried to play my game and help our team win.
So I'm guessing it was pretty nice then to quiet them after the Game 2 win?
Yeah, no, it was a good one to get the win. We had a good game, and hopefully we can carry it into Game 2.
Your coach talked about proving people wrong and maybe even proving him wrong in some extents when he was talking about starting goaltender Marek Schlenker. Said, go out and prove me wrong, kid, that I should have played you in Game 1 too. Does this entire team, though, Matt, have something to prove?
Yeah, I think every night there's something to prove. Whether it's just proving it to yourself, proving it to others. I think there's always something on the line to prove, and I think this series, we want to be the underdog. We want to come out on top, and we want to work as hard as we can, and we want to upset the Tigers. Defending champs, they're a great team over there, and we want to upset them.
So is talking about having something to prove something that's discussed open in the locker room, for example?
Yeah, I think we got nothing to lose. They're a great team over there, and they got a lot of skill, and I think we got a lot of skill in our room too. But I think we just got to work hard. We got to outwork them, and we got to win our battles and block shots and do the unseen things that no one really sees, but it helps our team win.
Game 3 and 4 of the set back here at the Brandt Center on Tuesday and Wednesday. What does it mean, and what's it going to be like in front of this home crowd?
Yeah, no, it's huge to get that home crowd. We're back here at home. We're always good at home, and it's such a good feeling playing in front of this great crowd, and we have such great fans, and it's super exciting to play in front of them.
It is really cool when you're able to take advantage of that, home ice advantage. I was looking on ticket availability earlier today. For the Wednesday game, they're going fast. Still a few extra seats on the seating chart if you look right now for tomorrow night's game. But yeah, back-to-back home games now. Let's see if they can pack away 2 more.
Absolutely. I think you hold serve, right? If you can hold serve in your home ice, things are going well for you. And you can feel the excitement with the team. Understand? And again, right, it's one of those things, okay, we've only won 1 game of the series, but nobody even picked them to be within 6 goals of the series.
Exactly.
So
they're still proving them wrong. Zach Lansard was another individual that you had a chance to catch up with coming off of that 2-game on the road swing there. So what did he have to say?
Zach, we talked a little bit about, again, to me, he's been an offensive spark plug. Now, again, he didn't lead the team in scoring or anything this year, but he found ways to be impactful when impactful moments were required, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so he got a big goal in game number 2. Again, it's his second career postseason game. And I was impressed with the way that he carried himself. And again, talked a little bit about that and the need to prove themselves. Joined by Regina Pats forward Zach Lansard. First playoff goal scored in Game 2 on Saturday night, that big 4-2 win. Maybe before we get to your goal, let's break down the entire weekend as a whole. You earned the split in Medicine Hat.
Yeah, I think we played a real solid game. It was probably our best performance as a group all year. And, we won the second game, but even the first game I thought we were right there with it. Just got unlucky with a few bounces in the second, but our group's really grown over the last week, and I feel like it's shown the last 2 games.
Now, obviously, we all know about the high-octane offense that is the Medicine Hat Tigers. They average over 5.1 goals, 4 per game. But you can't just think about defense when you're playing them, can you?
Yeah, for the most part, our defensive play has to be well, and that comes with gaining lines and gaining zones, and our goalies have been real solid the last second half here and into playoffs, and they're really reliable and helping our offense produce. So.
Well, let's go back to that Game 2 goal. Zach, tell me about it and what it meant.
Yeah, I mean it was good, just a relief to score early in the playoffs, and it was a big one, opener. But just getting on the forecheck and it put our team in the lead early, and I think that helped us throughout the game.
Now, attrition started to set in that game as well, as you're down to 10 forwards due to some injuries on the bench. How difficult was that, given 2 games, 2 nights in the middle of the postseason?
Yeah, it's definitely tough and not ideal. Out with some injuries, but everyone's stuck with it and being positive and just worrying about your next shift and your next play, and I think that's what helped us in the game.
Zach Lansard, you've proven that you can get the job done in the regular season. Now is the job to try to prove that you can get the job done in the playoffs?
Yeah, really big. I mean, at the end of the day, regular season doesn't matter. It's about how you play in the playoffs, and that's where the games really matter. So, like I said, just taking it day by day and shift by shift and trying to stay as positive as I can. And, our group's been really solid the last few games. And, if we're going to keep playing the way we're playing, we're gonna really do well this series. So.
Coach Herauf, Dale Durant, the general manager, have talked about this being a learning opportunity this postseason for the Regina Pats. So what have you learned in 2 games so far?
Yeah, definitely a lot. I mean, our group has not a lot of playoff experience, and going into Met-Hat has been a big jump for a lot of us, but it's just cliche, but it's faster, it's bigger, it's stronger. Everything matters, from the little details that, people might not realize in the regular season, to gaining a blue line or little chip, or a 35-second shift if it helps the next line get out there. So it's the little things that you don't really take into consideration in the regular season, but those are the things that really matters in the playoffs.
Lastly, you split the opening 2 games. Of course, you don't want the highs to be too high, the lows to be too low. How quickly do you reset and get emotion management going, if you will, so that you're ready to go for games 3 and 4 here in Regina?
Yeah, I mean, in the playoffs, there's going to be a lot of highs and lows, and everyone's pretty pumped. It's my first time ever beating Medicine Hat, so I'm pretty fired up. But we got them tomorrow, so it's just a quick reset and get back to work come tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, 7 o'clock puck drop. Wednesday, 7 o'clock puck drop right here in Regina at the Brandt Center. And I will tell you, that was a busy place over the weekend with the AAA Pat Canadians. So hopefully we get that same kind of crowd out there to cheer on the boys, they're the underdog in this game.
Yeah, I don't think they want it any other way. Like, there has absolutely been no credit at all given to the team, and I don't think they want any. Like, hey, you guys played a phenomenal game too. Whatever, we weren't supposed to win. That's kind of the feeling.
So go out there and win the next 2.
Mm-hmm.
Ephraim McNutt has been a leader on this team as well. And I'm sure that he's talking to the guys a lot in the locker room, and he's really amping them up, especially for this upcoming home game tomorrow in the playoffs. It's been, since the 22-23 season that we've had a home playoff game for the Regina Pats. So that's got to be pretty cool. And you spoke with Ephraim, who is a leader on this organization.
And leads the team in playoff game appearances.
Yeah.
Pleased to be joined by Regina Pats defenseman Ephraim McNutt. This is your 4th go-around in the postseason, my friend. You look and you've racked up 28 playoff appearances thus far. You earn a split in games 1 and 2 in Medicine Hat. Using your experience, tell me about that split and what it means to your confidence.
Yeah, it gives us a ton. They're a real good squad over there, and I think especially playing in Med Hat, it's tough to win. That was I don't know if it was completely sold out, but it was real close, and they're loud, they're rowdy, they're a great fan base. So I think going in this series, if we could say we were going to be 1-1 after the first 2, we would have taken that for sure.
Now, I mentioned to Zach Lansard earlier about the lows and the highs and the emotion management. How long did you take to reset for game number 3 after that big victory in game 2 back on Saturday night?
Yeah, I think I had to be really quick regardless of the outcome. After that loss in the first game, I thought we played some pretty good hockey, and not getting the outcome we wanted, you got to kind of just refresh even after a win. You can have some fun on the bus on the way home and enjoy it for a couple hours, but after that, you got to reset, make sure you're recovered and ready for the next game, because we know they're going to come out absolutely flying in game 3.
Ephraim, there's no doubt that you are a leader on this team. How much of a challenge, obstacle, opportunity is it for you to prove yourself as a leader, or do you even need to go out and prove yourself as a leader in the postseason with the Regina Pats?
I don't really look at it in that sense. I don't think I need to really prove anything. I think I just want to help the guys out. I'm not really worried about my game per se. I'll play my game and hope to play some good hockey. But I think it's more about the other guys and the young guys who lack that playoff experience, and I think just kind of helping them out in different areas, whether it's on the ice, off the ice, recovery based, anything I can do. I think that's kind of the biggest thing for me.
As you prepare for Game 3 here at home, tied 1-1 with the Tigers, are you looking at what they did in the first 2 games, or are you mostly looking at what you guys did in the first 2 games?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think we've pre-scouted them a lot. It's always tough to say what they're going to do. We've seen them twice. We've seen their plays. Some really high-skilled set plays and stuff in the first 2 games. But I think they'll try and change something. They'll maybe throw something else at us, or know that Game 2 it wasn't working for them, and maybe they'll switch something up, maybe switch their lines up. And we try to worry about that, but I mean, you can only do so much in the playoffs. So I think really it's about our game and focusing on what we can do, regardless of what they throw.
General manager and head coach of the Tigers, Willie Desjardins, said following game number 2 that your team was much more hungry than his team was. I guess that's the ultimate compliment. So how hungry are you?
Yeah, we're real hungry. We have to be. We don't really have any other choice. It's pretty simple that we can't outskill a team like that, and we know that. So does Medicine Hat. So I think relying on work ethic and system play and again just being hungry is what we need to do. We don't really have another option.
And that, of course, was your Regina Pats captain, Ephraim McNutt, with Dave Thomas. So Pats head coach Brad Herauf is going to be in for Pats Chat around 5:30 this afternoon, ahead of Game 3 tomorrow at the Brandt Center.
What do you want to know?
What do I want to know? Everything.
I'm just throwing it out there. What do we want to know going into game number 3? How do the Pats approach it? What are they anticipating from Medicine Hat? Again, Willie Desjardins didn't mince his words post game 2, saying they wanted it more than we did, and that's probably a big concern right now if you're the Medicine Hat Tigers.
Might have felt like a bit of a trap game for them.
That's a great way to look at it. I really hadn't considered it that way.
They're at home. They're going against the Pats, who positionally pretty far from them. You're the second place overall conference lander.
Yeah, no,
that's a weird way to word it,
but I know what you mean. and I honestly hadn't thought about the trap aspect of it. But you're right, because Medicine Hat did not dominate game 1, still won 6-2. You haven't lost to the Pats all season. You outscored them huge in your last 2 games, 17-2 in the regular season. So. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe a little too much complacency there.
But the Pats, they dominated for stretches in that hockey game.
Oh, yeah.
For the majority of the hockey game.
And I think they're ready to do it. Based on all of those conversations you had today, they're ready for tomorrow night.
They sound ready. Yeah, and today I almost said Agrodome. How old am I? Over at the Brandt Center today, it really wasn't a systems workout or it wasn't an install practice. Today was a conditioning skate and workout. So
okay.
That's the way they approached it today. I'm sure there's X's and O's and a lot of video work that followed that we didn't see. But I'm just saying that, get the legs under you. Again, now you got 2 in a row. You know that you're going to be playing 3 games in 4 nights. You know all of these things right now.
Yeah. Well, if anybody does have any specific questions they want us to pass along to head coach Brad Herauf this afternoon, Prairieland Rentals text line 306-936-6262. We will do our best to get those in there. Okay. In a different hockey league, AAA hockey. Make it 2 straight back-to-back for the Regina Pat Canadians, beating Moose Jaw 5-2 on Saturday. Yeah, back-to-back U18 AAA provincial titles against a rival in that win. That's got to feel pretty sweet. And I will say, it looked packed inside. What was that, Rink 6 at the Cooperator Center?
Co-op 6, yeah.
Yeah, I think they were turning people away.
I wouldn't have been surprised because I know that there was social media posts that if you want tickets, you better get them now. Otherwise, you could be turned away at the door. And again, what a series. The first 3 games go into overtime. Game 4, Moose Jaw comes in. And really, I hate to say this, but really, Moose Jaw laid a licking on Regina in Game 4. And how about the Pat Canadians turning it around? Turning it around in less than 24 hours. I assumed, and again, never do that, but I assumed Saturday's game was a night game. I forgot they were playing in the afternoon. And I get the text with the photo of the team winning the AAA championship. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot. So they didn't have time to think about it or stew on it. They just turned around and away they went.
Well, congratulations to them. They will be back on the ice later this week. Of course, Regina is hosting the TELUS Cup Western Regionals, and that'll be kicking off again at the Cooperator Center later this week. Their first game, Regina's first game, is against Thunder Bay on Thursday.
I am 90% confident in your statement.
And then, of course, Musha also going to be playing in that tournament as well. So ReginaPatCanadians.ca if you want to get tickets. They have that early bird deal that's still on right now. So $70 and you get all 7 games. This will guarantee you entry into all of these games because, as we know, that might not be the case for all of these Regina Pat Canadians games. It also gets you into the championship game if you get one of these early bird packs, and then single day tickets go on sale later this week. So if you missed the game, if you couldn't get to the rink, if you did not buy your tickets in time, you can definitely get in on the TELUS Cup before it's too late. So, also, sportscage.com right now, you can go to that Regina Pat Canadians championship article and the biggest moments that led them to that victory, and it's a pretty cool breakdown if you're kind of getting that feeling of FOMO.
Yeah. And it's the big one that stands out to me is how they scored first shift, first minute of the game to set the tone. So
that's what you got to do. Come out strong. SJHL playoffs. Yorkton Terriers in Melville taking on the Millionaires tonight. Now the Terriers are up 3-2 in that series. The winner will be playing the Flin Flon Bombers. Nipawin Hawks in Weyburn taking on the Red Wings. Same time, 7 o'clock, and Weyburn is in front in that series 3-2. So Battleford's North Stars will be awaiting the winner of that series. We're getting down to the wire.
Yeah, their new champion coming up, Melfort. The 2-time defending champs were ousted by Battleford. So, and again, you looked at Melfort, right? They were red hot. Like they put in 10-game winning streak together. Like it was insane what they were able to put out on the ice. And again, Battleford's got to tip your hat. They found a way to beat them. I thought that if there was a first round upset, that might be it. But maybe the first round upset might be Weyburn. Might be.
We'll see. There's still more hockey to be played.
Yes.
NHL. Let's get to this quickly here. Biggest talker, I think, of the weekend came from the Vegas Golden Knights firing Bruce Cassidy and bringing in John Tortorella with 8 games remaining in the regular season. And Vegas is currently in a playoff spot. Right now, if the playoffs were to start today in the NHL, they'd be facing the Edmonton Oilers. I was about to say Oil Kings because we were just talking so much WHL. But that is a bold move.
John Tortorella comes in and shakes up a dressing room, right? And
is that a good thing, though?
That's the question mark right now, because if there's one thing that I trust and believe implicitly, Kelly McCrimmon is no dummy in hockey. He knows how to get things done. He understands how to build winning teams. He's won a Stanley Cup. He's got his WHL team when he was with the Brandon Wheat Kings. He's got them as a perennial contender. So he knows what to do. And he felt something was off, despite the coach just 3 seasons ago having won a Stanley Cup with him. He thought something was off, so he made a change to address it. And again, it can either go one of two ways. There's not going to be any middle ground. It's either going to work or it ain't.
It's worked before. 2000 New Jersey Devils. They fired their head coach with 3 games left in the regular season and went on to win the Stanley Cup.
But that
different era.
That New Jersey Devil team was
so good.
No, it is so different to what the Vegas team is right now.
They're struggling.
I'm just going to say that as a coach, you got to manage players, right? And that's what Tortorella's got to do. He's got to come in, manage the expectations, and try to get the most out of his team. And what worries me is that you've got the likes of Jack Eichel, who has had problems with authority in his NHL career, hence he wanted out. Mm-hmm. You've got Mitch Marner, who had problems with authority, hence he wanted out. You've got big, rigid leaders like Mark Stone, which is... Again, he's a guy that has played for tough coaches along the way, and if you give him a little more gas, does that mean good things for the Vegas Golden Knights? All I'm saying is there's a lot of personalities in that room, and I'm going to be very interested to see how John Tortorella goes ahead and handles them.
It will be very easy to lose that room.
Yep.
Coming in at this point in the season. That was baffling. I was double-checking to make sure it wasn't April Fool's Day, and this wasn't just someone trolling me on Twitter.
Well, and don't forget, Tortorella has won a Stanley Cup, right? Yeah. And everything is a matter of perspective, right? If a player feels they've been done wrong by their coach, they don't like you. Go figure, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, hey, you know what? He was great. He got us to where we wanted to go. Again, it's all on who you talk to, and that perspective is going to be interesting.
What's the over-under on Cassidy being in Toronto next season?
Oh.
I could see it. Maybe even Vancouver? Sorry.
He won't be in Vancouver. Who wants to go to Vancouver? They're just lucky they've got Adam Foote locked into a contract. Otherwise, he would have cleaned out his locker himself.
I mean,
but
at this point, it's just a revolving rotation of the same, 35, 38 coaches that bounce around from team to team. So he's going to get picked up somewhere.
Yeah, he will.
I can see it being Toronto.
I would go ahead and put this winning donut we've got from the roll up the rim to Wim here, and I would put that. I would wager that he wouldn't be in Toronto because Toronto doesn't even know what Toronto wants. They literally don't.
Do they ever?
Well, they think they do, but really they don't. They don't know whether to tear it down, and do you go down to the studs? Do you go ahead and blow up the foundation? That's the question mark.
Yeah.
They know they got to do something, and if I'm Bruce Cassidy, what do I want to do? Do I want to go to Toronto where, you know what, we're going to be under pressure to win on day one, and this is not going to be a day one win thing?
You know what? I think at this point, all Bruce Cassidy is thinking about is golf. The next golf course I'm going to go try out.
Probably.
Why not?
No,
take your time off, buddy.
He'll be taken care of for a bit. But you're right, though. The timing is nuts.
It's wild to me. One more quick thing here before we take a break. Last week, we talked about a puck wedged in a player's skate.
Yeah.
I thought that was rare. This other one, if you're watching the stream, you can see it right now at sportscage.com. Adam Ernie has a full stick wedged into between the blade and the bottom of his foot. The ref had to come. He's laying on his stomach, and the ref is trying to reef on it to get it out of his skate. Have you ever seen that in all of your years that you have spent at the rink? Because I certainly haven't.
I think there's something different with the blades because I've seen it in the last 3 years. I've seen it a couple times, and before that, it used to be a joke, right? When you were coaching the Timbits hockey, where you'd put it in their skates and then you'd pull them around the ice, and that's how you got the kids to, really, it's actually a very good power skating technique, but
in a game,
no.
Oh man.
No, and that's got to be the second most helpless feeling, right? The blade coming off your skate has got to be number one, and then a stick there, because what do you do, right? Because you think about it, the skate is going to be interfering with the other non-offending leg, if you will.
I just thought that was great. What's going to be next week?
Yes. Who knows?
I don't know. Someone throwing something on the ice. We'll find out. We'll be back next week. Yeah. But if you, again, want to join in the conversation here, Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. I'm already seeing some people tossing in some questions here for Brad Herauf, so we might have to take a peek at those as we take a break and see if it's going to work. This is the Monday edition of the Sports Cage, brought to you by Smoke'em Diesel. If you are a fix-it-yourself type of person, Smoke'em Diesel will supply you with injectors, injection pumps, turbos, and all diesel hard parts. Genuine OEM replacement diesel parts. They do not sell junk, and with the price of diesel right now, you probably don't want to cheap out on the parts either. So make sure that you're using nothing but the best with Smoke'em Diesel and take good care of your equipment. Now, coming up next on the other side of the break, Rob Mann, play-by-play voice for the Brandon Wheat Kings, hoping he still has a voice, will join us next. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports, 620 CKRM, and streaming at sportscage.com.
It's the start of a new year. Time to get financially fit. If you're looking to open an RRSP or a TFSA, maximize an existing account, or update your investment mix, Cooperators can provide the personalized advice and service you need. Want to start the new year on the right financial foot? Contact your local advisor to build a plan that works for you. Cooperators, investing in your future together.
I'm Joan Pratchler, Saskatchewan NDP MLA for Regina Rochdale. 78,000 Saskatchewan children are living in poverty. That's a higher rate than anywhere else in Canada. As a grandmother, this breaks my heart. It's time for a government that will deliver change. Saskatchewan NDP MLAs are focused on making life more affordable for families. Contact me, 306-531-3125.
The auction calendar is stacked at Ritchie Brothers this spring with 64 exciting unreserved auctions happening across Western Canada. Visit rbauction.com/agriculture to view a wide selection of used equipment from top brand manufacturers. You can also add items to your watch list, register for auctions, and bid online. You won't want to miss these great opportunities to get equipment you need. Head to rbauction.com/agriculture to register and be ready for the auctions.
Hi, Sean here from the Rusty Shovel. We've moved to a brand new location on the East Vic Service Road. Bigger displays, more products, everything you need for your next outdoor project. Paving stone, artificial turf, sprinklers, you name it, we've got it. We'll help you plan it, price it, and load it, or connect you with the right contractor. And we'll be showing off our products at the Spring Home Show, so come say hi. Visit therustyshovel.ca or come see us on the East Vic Service Road. Great projects start at the Shovel. The Rusty Shovel Landscape Shop. 2 green thumbs up.
This is Sportscage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Monday edition of the Sports Cage brought to you by Smoke'em Diesel. Tegan Whitco, your Monday host, alongside Dave Thomas, voice of the Riders, and Colson Schultz, keeping us on the air on the stream at sportscage.com, X, YouTube, and of course live on the radio at 620 CKRM. I realized that we did not talk about the Toronto Blue Jays at all in our first little nugget there. That was impressive.
Hey, first time since 1992 that they won and swept their opening series of a season. So there you go. Good things, Blue Jays fans, even though they've got Davis Schneider on the roster.
Okay.
I know, I got called out for that a number of times.
Yeah. And don't you say any bad words about Ernie Clement.
Oh, I wouldn't go there.
Yeah,
Again, I'm really shocked, and I give him a lot of credit.
There's a lot more to unpack with the opening series for the Toronto Blue Jays, but I don't want to keep our guests waiting any longer. Western Pizza Guest Hotline, the Greek-style pizza that has become famous around the world, plus all the Greek and Canadian food you cannot get enough of. Western Pizza, the local legend. We will get back to hockey, or back to baseball, but first, we got to talk hockey here with Rob Mann, play-by-play voice of the Brandon Wheat Kings. Appreciate you taking the time, Rob.
Tegan, Dave, thanks very much for having me.
So you still have a voice. That is a good sign. What a weekend for you. That was a grind, I'm sure. Did you get some rest?
Something approaching rest, yeah, as much as you can get. We actually returned from Calgary just, I was going to say yesterday, but that bled into today. That is about a 12-hour bus ride, and it was made all the longer. I do find it funny, you're talking baseball, and of course we could see the Blue Jays highlights on TV, and it looks absolutely beautiful where they are. I look out my window, and yeah, full on blizzard going here in Brandon. So it took us a little longer than usual to get home, and I think it's going to take the Hitmen a little longer than usual to get here too. Mother Nature's having her way with the playoffs, as she so often does this time of year.
Well, yeah, you guys might be one of the teams that has to travel the furthest in this first round of the playoffs, hey?
We'd be up there, actually, not only in the first round, but throughout the regular season, we've got one of the tougher travel schedules here in Brandon. But in both instances, we do actually have one team that beat us, the Prince George Cougars, who have, for my money, the toughest travel in the Western Hockey League, just because their closest opponent is 5.5 hours away. Their opening round playoff series has us beat by a narrow margin. They are traveling to play Spokane, the 3-6 matchup there in that Western Conference, and I think that's something like 12.5 hours of travel. They had it listed in miles. I don't remember what it was, but it was enough to make me feel a little less bad about 11.5 hours to Calgary.
It could always be worse. But more than 4
Someone's
hours.
always got it worse.
So 4 hours of hockey that you called in that triple overtime game, which unfortunately did result in a loss for the team that you're calling the games for. But from your perspective in the booth, Rob, despite that loss, how remarkable was the goaltending performance for Brandon?
That's probably the best goaltending performance, and frankly, the best goaltending duel I've personally seen. That was an incredible display. I mean, between the two teams, you rack up north of 100 shots, and considering when we broke down the math going into the season series, there were a couple of relatively low-scoring games between those two teams. There were also a couple of relatively high-scoring ones. And on average, those two teams were scoring about 14 goals a game in the regular season. Nothing really changed in terms of the roster construction either way. So for those two teams to then go 105 minutes without scoring once was a pretty remarkable achievement, and you could put that largely down to the goaltender. Filip Ruzicka was great for the Wheat Kings. 6'7" guy who can move. He's going to be good on a lot of nights, and he always seems to be at his best in Calgary. Eric Toom, not to be overshadowed. He was really strong for the Calgary Hitmen, and I thought he had some quite literally game-saving stops.
Well, those gosh darn Flames needed the Saddle Dome on Saturday, which did give you a break that you knew about going in. But aside from the physical toll, how much did that extra day give a mental edge to the Wheat Kings or the Hitmen and an opportunity to recover from such a long game?
I think it had to give a mental reset. That was actually something Marty Murray and I had talked about, was the fact that after a triple overtime game, especially a 1-0 triple overtime game, a lot of guys are going to be sitting there thinking, what if? There's a lot of guys who had the game on their stick at different moments. Each team hit a post in overtime before the game-winning goal went in. The Wheat Kings and Hitmen both hit a post in regulation. There was a penalty shot in double overtime. And anybody who was in on one of those chances is going to be thinking to themselves, well, if I just put the puck a half inch lower, well, if I just gotten the shot away a hair faster, and maybe doing a little bit of blaming themselves. That's not really healthy or helpful for a long playoff series. You need to be able to flush that kind of loss. And having a day off to kind of reset mentally, I think, helped the offensive guys for both teams quite a bit, because you could tell by game 2 they had pretty clearly regained their confidence. All of a sudden, the offense that was maybe more what we would have expected between those two teams just erupts. And I think for both sets of skaters, that was important. You get an opportunity to get the woe is me out of your system. You get an opportunity to flush the feeling of maybe having let yourself down, and you get to get right back to work. And the player who missed on the penalty shot for the Wheat Kings in double overtime did score their first goal of the playoffs the very next game. So it seemed like that was a pretty good mental reset for both teams, really.
One of my favorite things, reads that I tried to get when I was in the Western Hockey League, was post-game meal. Because you could always tell if it had went well, if it hadn't went well, and you usually get a sense on how the group is going to unpack it and frame, if you will, for lack of a better term, the result. What was that post-game meal like? Was it an oh, woe is me moment that, hey, we just lost 1-0? Was it a, hey, you know what, we were in this game as the underdog and, you know, we gave them a run for their money? What was that feeling and sentiment like?
You know, I don't think I got a very good read necessarily through meals, ironically, until actually the next morning. Because the biggest read I got from the post-game meal from the Wheat Kings after game 1 was one of just sheer exhaustion. For most of these guys, this was just the longest game they'd ever played. It was a fairly quiet meal just because guys are probably not feeling all that chatty after having played 105 consecutive minutes of hockey. They were about 15 minutes short of playing 2 full games in one day. They were, I think it ended up being 2 minutes short of a modern record for the Wheat Kings in the internet era. Nobody felt too chatty that very night. But the next morning at the team breakfast, chattiness level was way up. You could tell guys were willing to put that behind them, willing to get back to work. It was a nice dynamic, and the leaders for the Wheat Kings, the older guys, were the ones leading the way on that front, which was good to see.
The series shifts back to Manitoba tomorrow, game 3. What do you think is the biggest storyline now? Feeling like these players probably left everything out on the ice. They did everything that they could. They fell short, unfortunately, 2 overtime games. Do you think it's fatigue? Do you think it's, adjustments on the power play, penalty kill? What are you going to be watching for?
I'm curious to see how the Wheat Kings, now that they have, as close to home ice advantage as they are going to have in this series, how they handle the starts. If there's been one concern for the Wheat Kings that was universal in both games 1 and 2, it was their first period. They were outshot pretty heavily in the first period in game 1. It was actually even more dramatic in game 2, and in game 2 they surrendered the 2 goals in the first period, so it kind of glared out a little more. In both cases they bounced back really well in the second period. You don't want to have to play from behind all the time. You don't want to have to chase the game all the time. So for me, the start is going to be something I watch. Being able to sleep in their own beds tonight, I think, is going to go a long way for that. The other advantage that the Wheat Kings have is, we talked about their travel earlier, and for the Wheat Kings, that travel is a constant all season long. You're always dealing with it. Sometimes it weighs on you, but it's always there. For the Calgary Hitmen, a team who have a lot closer of rivals geographically than the Wheat Kings have, you wonder how accustomed they are to those long travel days. And the Wheat Kings, their closest opponent being the Regina Pats, that's 3.5 hours away. For Calgary, that would be their 4th or 5th closest opponents. So the Wheat Kings might have an advantage in that regard, in that these 12-hour bus trips are not new to Brandon. They might be a little new to Calgary, and they are playing in an unfamiliar rink for the Hitmen because this is being played in Verdun for games 3, 4, and if necessary, 5. So there will be some advantages to be keeping an eye on. I think as far as the Wheat Kings are concerned internally, they're going to worry about what they can control. They're not quite necessarily as worried about how the Hitmen handle things. They're going to be trying to come up with a better start.
It's funny, you mentioned travel. It seems like it is 3 hours on the Deerfoot every once in a while, but that's a different story for a different day. But in all sincerity, when it comes to game number 3, obviously the importance is on the Brandon Wheat Kings. They know what's at stake. Do they feel that pressure right now, do you think?
The pressure might come a little bit later, but there's more of an opportunity. I think it's less of a pressure than more of a sense of we've got a chance to swing this series. Game 3 is kind of the hinge, and the series can swing one way or another. They found that last season against the Lethbridge Hurricanes. They had lost a very close Game 2 in that one as well. They came in for Game 3 in Verdon, ended up losing a very close one there, and all of a sudden the whole dynamic of the series shifts. Now you're the team down 0-3, and we all know what the statistical likelihood is of climbing out of that pit. But if all of a sudden you're only down 2-1, well, after 3 games, chances are somebody's got to be down 2-1. So if it's you, you can fight back from that pretty easily. And I think the pressure will be more keenly felt depending on the result of Game 3 than going into Game 3.
What style of Game 3 then is going to make the Brandon Wheat Kings successful? You've got 2 40-goal scorers, 3 20-goal scorers. You can score your way out of trouble if you need to. Is that the way that the Wheat Kings need to approach it, or how do they need the play to end up in this third game?
I think the second game was an antidote for what ailed a lot of their guys, especially the top line. You had multi-point games from all of Jackson Jacobson, Luke Misselbacher, and Prob Bethal. But the team doesn't really worry about themselves scoring so much. They know they've got the firepower to do that. It's more the sheer in-the-trenches work that I think they're going to be focusing on. They haven't necessarily been as physical as they know they can be at their best. One thing about the Wheat Kings statistically is that is a massive blue line they have. Like that, the average size for the blue line they iced in Game 2 was 6'3" and 200 pounds, and that was the average. So that is a big back end. They need to play like it a little bit more and maybe bring that hard-nosed style. It's something Marty Murray and I had chatted about prior to Game 2 was the importance of winning board battles and just simple things that often, when you're a younger team, which the Wheat Kings relatively are, playoff hockey can sometimes come as a bit of a shock to the system, and there's less time and space. There's more need to battle for every puck. To their credit, I think a lot of the younger Wheat Kings really picked up on that well before the end of Game 2. A couple of the young guys were leading the charge in that regard. So I would expect to see an intensity rise from the Wheat Kings more than anything, partially because it's needed for the playoffs. Every team needs that. And partially because I don't think the team is worried so much about scoring. Now that they've buried 5 on Eric 2, who is a good goaltender, they know that the offense can and will come.
We did get a question here on the Prairie Land Rentals text line just asking, Rob, if you might be able to clarify why the Wheat Kings are playing in Verdon, Manitoba.
Yes. So I guess I take it for granted that people know this, but the annual tradition here in Brandon, which goes back more than a century at this point, I believe, is the Winter Fair comes in that very last week of March. And there's also another unspoken tradition that the Winter Fair is always accompanied by a winter storm, which, yep, nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. But every year at this time, the Wheat Kings have to potentially juggle their playoff schedule and relocate for at least the first couple of games of the playoffs. And they've been doing this for a very long time. I can remember when I was first getting interested in junior hockey, the Wheat Kings were starting to play playoff games in Winnipeg, because what was at the time the Keystone Center or Westoba Place wasn't available to them because it was being taken up by the Winter Fair. So this does happen every year right around the first round of the playoffs. Sometimes it depends where the Wheat Kings finish in the standings. So if, for instance, the Wheat Kings would have had home ice advantage this weekend, they would have been able to play games 1 and 2 in this building. They would not have been able to play games 6 and 7 because the Winter Fair would still be there. But that's something that the Wheat Kings juggle pretty well every year. And I guess it's all the added incentive to get onto the second round because you want to play playoff games in your home building.
Well, hey, Verdon, Manitoba, getting a nice little economic boost. It's a cute little town. I like Verdon.
And you know what? They turned out for the Wheat Kings beautifully last year. I think officially Tundra Oil and Gas Place would be 1,500 capacity. They were 1,600 plus every time, standing room only. My opposite number and I, in this case Brad Curl with Calgary Hitman, we're calling the game from the walking track, so we're surrounded by the crowd the entire time, and they treat you like gold. It's a fun experience, and the town really shows up for it, which is really nice to see.
Well, that's awesome. And again, thanks to Travis on the text line, the Prairie Land Rentals text line, for getting you to clarify that. That's kind of cool. Do we want to shift the series back here to Regina, or the talk back here to Regina? Because we also are expecting a Game 3 at the Brandt Center tomorrow night. And Rob, you were here. There was a home and home to wrap up the regular season between the Wheat Kings and the Pats. You've had an opportunity to get a good look at, I'm assuming, both teams here. So how do you see this series playing out now that it's all evened up at a game apiece, shifting back to the Brandt Center?
Well, I confess I was one of the people caught off guard by the Regina Pats taking that Game 2 because they were on the road and they were up against a powerhouse team. I think a lot of people felt that down the stretch, there weren't a lot of teams better than Medicine Hat. I'm sure you've gone through the statistics ad nauseum at this point. But the fact that they outscored last year's championship team after losing all that firepower, they somehow finished with more goals, is mind-bending to me. And full credit to their staff for getting that done with a relatively young group of guys. But for Regina to go into that building, which is capital H hostile territory, and come out with a win, not only with the victory, but having outshot the Tigers too, that was the impressive thing. Because one thing the Wheat Kings found with the Tigers, they are a shoot-first team. They will fire from everywhere. And even though the Wheat Kings actually split the season series with Medicine Hat, they'd be one of the few teams that would be able to say that. I believe the Tigers outshot them 3 out of 4. And they pile up shots on goal, like 40, 50 plus on a regular basis. They have a lot of guys that like to shoot the puck. So for Regina to limit them to under 25 shots, to outshoot them and to outscore them, it's about as convincing of a road win as you can get. And for a Regina Pats team that, again, has some youth of their own, if you want to talk about confidence, you just earned yourself a plate full of it. You did everything in your power to come out of there with a win. You got it. Home ice is now yours. The remaining 5 games of this series, if it goes the distance, you will have home ice for the majority of them. I'd say Regina did what every road team wants to do, and maybe more than would have been expected.
All right, Rob Mann, power play for the Brandon Wheat Kings. Really appreciate the time. I know that it was an absolute grind for you this weekend, but we do have to let you go here. So I hope that you have a good call tomorrow, Game 3 in Manitoba, Verdun, Manitoba to be specific. And I hope you don't have to worry about calling more than 60 minutes of hockey.
Well, the way this series is going, who would bet against it? But hopefully the voice is more or less recovered by then. Tegan, Dave, I appreciate you reaching out to have me on. This has been great.
Fantastic. Thanks again, Rob Mann. Brandon Wheat Kings play-by-play voice joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Always a good chat with Rob. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side. It's the Sports Cage on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
Is Saskatchewan better off under Mark Carney? He still won't approve a pipeline or remove Trudeau's anti-development laws. Deficits are bigger than ever. Inflation is pushing grocery prices through the roof, and Carney refuses to repeal Liberal bail that sets criminals free. Conservatives are fighting to unblock our natural resources, get steelworkers their jobs back by approving pipelines, and make our communities safer. It's clear, only Conservative MPs are always on Saskatchewan's side. This message brought to you by Andrew Scheer, MP for Regina Capel.
Back to our regular spot, Pump Jacks Cathedral.
You know, I thought Pump Jacks was a kind of boot polish till last month.
What are you getting?
Kerwin's crispy ribs and a cold pint of local craft. Crispy, meaty, beautiful.
You had me at meaty.
Plus, we got live music on the weekends, big screens. This place is basically my second marriage.
And way cheaper than the first.
On the corner of Albert and 13th, Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.
You cut the grass, we'll cut the deal at Brandt Agriculture. Get 0% financing for 84 months. Plus cash rebates and bonuses on select John Deere turf equipment. Save on compact utility tractors, riding lawnmowers, and utility vehicles. Get it from people who get it. Offer ends April 30th, 2026. Some restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262 for Prairie Land Rentals. Renting heaters, skid steers, and most power tools for all those winter jobs. And your official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street, where you deal with the owner. It's time for the Sports Ticker. Brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. Switch to Reliance today and get $200 cash back with your new water heater. Some conditions apply. Call on Reliance.
SJHL playoffs. Yorkton Terriers in Melville taking on the Millionaires. That will be tonight. Now, let me see. Terriers lead the best of 7 series 3-2. Winner plays Flin Flon. Nipawin Hawks in Weyburn taking on the Red Wings at 7 o'clock. Weyburn in front in that series 3-2. And North Battleford Stars await the winner of that series. World Men's Curling Championship. Canada back in the win column at this championship. Matt Dunstone and his Winnipeg rink rolled to a 9-2 win over Portland this morning, pulling away with a big finish that ended the game early. Canada, with the win, moves to 3-2 with a matchup against Japan coming up at 7 o'clock tonight. NHL regular season Flames in Colorado taking on the Avalanche. Canucks taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. Tortorella making his debut tonight. Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Anaheim Ducks. Last I checked, Radko Gudas his status is undetermined. And so we'll see what happens there. Major League Baseball regular season, of course, Toronto Blue Jays opening up a new series against the Colorado Rockies. Cody Ponce on the mound to make his Jays debut. And we are curious to see what you think. Will the hiring of John Tortorella help the Vegas Golden Knights at this point in the season? You can vote at sportscage.com. That is the sports ticker, brought to you by Reliance Group of Companies.
Listen weekdays at noon for Saskatchewan Today on CKRM with your host, Ryan Young, offering the most extensive agricultural news coverage with precision weather meteorologists in an industry that moves fast. Stay updated with the latest, most reliable information in ag news, crisis and trends, all in one place. Available anytime at saskagtoday.com. Saskag Today, your trusted source for all things agriculture. Sponsored by Affinity Credit Union on 620 CKRM.
Did you know over 1.3 million homeowners call on Reliance for their water heater needs? With over 150,000 five-star online reviews and over 60 years experience, you could say Reliance Heath are water heater experts. Switch to Reliance Heath today. They'll give you $200 for all your hot water needs.
Call on Reliance.
Visit waterheaterrentals.com for details. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Joan Pratchler, Saskatchewan NDP MLA for Regina Rochdale. 78,000 Saskatchewan children are living in poverty. That's a higher rate than anywhere else in Canada. As a grandmother, this breaks my heart. It's time for a government that will deliver change. Saskatchewan NDP MLAs are focused on making life more affordable for families. Contact me, 306-531-3125.
He's gaining on us. Quick, let's hide in the garage.
No, it's stuck again.
You said you fixed it.
I meant to. I just never called Busy Bee Doors.
Lift it, hurry, lift it.
It won't budge. It's busted.
Don't let a broken garage door turn into a horror story. Call Busy Bee Doors. They can fix or replace any commercial or garage door. Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
Hi, Sean here from the Rusty Shovel. We've moved to a brand new location on the East Vic Service Road. Bigger displays, more products, everything you need for your next outdoor project. Paving stone, artificial turf, sprinklers, you name it, we've got it. We'll help you plan it, price it, and load it, or connect you with the right contractor. And we'll be showing off our products at the Spring Home Show, so come say hi. Visit therustyshovel.ca or come see us on the East Vic Service Road. Great projects start at the Shovel. The Rusty Shovel Landscape Shop. 2 green thumbs up.
This is 620 CKRM Regina, the voice of Saskatchewan, a Harvard media station, streaming everywhere at 620ckrm.com.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Tanner Wallace-Scribner from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with 620 CKRM News. Snow clearing efforts are underway in Regina following today's snowfall. City officials say crews are concentrating on priority roads and ice control. Daryl Massier, City of Regina's Roadways Seasonal Operations Manager, says he doesn't expect snow routes to be activated.
At this point, we're not predicting the snow routes to be put in place. It's just we haven't quite got the snow there yet. We're sitting at about 3 to 4 centimeters, so we'd need another centimeter or 2 centimeters to reach our 5 centimeter threshold.
He reminds residents to slow down and increase their following distance with the current conditions. The Saskatchewan Union of Nurses is raising concerns about the province's latest budget and healthcare plans. Union President Bryce Boyton says while a new nursing task force framework is a positive step, it lacks firm funding commitments. He says the province continues to focus on infrastructure without addressing staffing shortages. He warns that without more registered nurses, new facilities will struggle to operate effectively. The union is calling for stronger efforts to retain experienced nurses and improve workplace conditions. Health officials say recruitment efforts will continue as part of broader system planning. Saskatchewan is extending a program that sends patients to Calgary for breast health tests to help reduce wait times. Officials say the program has cut urgent biopsy waits by more than 87% since 2023. Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell says the contract will now run until 2027. So far, more than 800 patients have been referred, with most already treated. The Saskatchewan Health Authority says the program remains temporary while capacity continues to grow within the province. Fred Fox is touring Saskatchewan to share the story of the Marathon of Hope and the legacy of his brother, Terry Fox. Fred's presentations include personal stories and photos that highlight Terry's 1980 run across Canada, and his tour includes public events and school visits across several communities.
We're only, I think we're less than 2 weeks away from when Terry would have started his Marathon of Hope on April 12th, 1980, 46 years ago, and so it's a wonderful opportunity.
Terry aimed to raise money and awareness for cancer research, and the run in fundraising has continued in his name since the early 1980s. Organizers say the talks are meant to inspire people and remind them of the ongoing fight against cancer. That's 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sastoday.ca and 620CKRM.com.
When was the last time you cleaned your ducts? Because what's hiding in there, it's kind of gross. Dust, skin, and who knows what else floating around your home every day. A professional duct cleaning is good for your health and good for your home. So start fresh with duct cleaning from Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Cleaner air, better comfort. Call 781-2090 or visit broncoplumbing.com today. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And Bryant, whatever it takes.
Weather for next-gen coatings, spray coatings for truck bed liners, rocker panels, and more. Same company, new name, 1865 McCarra Street in Regina. Snow diminishing to flurries, and we will see an additional 2 to 4 centimeters tonight. Wind gusting to 45 kilometers an hour and a high of -3. Tonight, snow, another 2 to 3 centimeters. Breezy, dropping to -10. For tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud and a high of -4. Wednesday, partly sunny, breezy, and a high of -2. Thursday, mostly cloud and a high of -1. And then Friday, cloudy and a high of -2.
For over 40 years, you've known them as Regina's trusted vehicle protection specialists. Now they're introducing the next gen of coatings. New name, new level of protection. They're now Next Gen Coatings. 3 generations of their family have served your family, and that hasn't changed. Same owners, same commitment, ready for the next gen of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards. The company hasn't changed, just the name. Next Gen Coatings. 1865 McCarra Street. The next gen starts now.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Smoke'em Diesel in Regina. So you want to do it yourself? No problem. We sell injection pumps, injectors, and turbos to fit all your needs. Find us on Facebook today. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Today, The Cage is brought to you by Smoke'em Diesel. I'm Tegan Whitco, your Monday host with voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, Mr. Dave Thomas. Colson Schultz keeping us on the right path most of the time until I screw it up. We're on the stream, sportscage.com, X, YouTube, and of course live on 620 CKRM. And how dare I, Dave? Breaking news. Never been done before. It's now official. The Super Bowl is heading back to Vegas in 2029.
Nobody is going to have a good time at that thing, are they?
No.
There will not be any money spent there.
It was such a surprise they're going to do it there again.
Yeah.
Anyway, I forgot to include that into my sports ticker, so there you go. Big news for the NFL today. If you want to join in the conversation at any point, hit us up on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Prairie Land Rentals, from small power tools to skid steers, they probably have what you need, including Husqvarna snow throwers. Deal with the owner. 600 Albert Street. It's still snowing. Calm down. Anyway, let's go out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. JC Abbott of 3 Down Nation. Thank you so much for taking the time, JC.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
So you're fresh off the CFL Combine in Edmonton this weekend. Let's get your perspective. Big picture standpoint, how deep is this draft class from your seat, and who are some of the stronger and weaker groups?
It's an incredibly deep draft class, and it's extremely talented at the top as well. Probably the top 10, 12 players weren't in attendance at the Combine because either they were at the NFL Combine or they have pro days where they're able to showcase themselves for NFL scouts and have significant levels of interest south of the border. But even the guys who were at the Combine, I think this is a year where you can find talent in round 6, 7, 8 of the draft, guys who can contribute early on special teams and potentially even develop into starters down the line. The offensive line group is extremely talented. That has been a weakness the last couple of years. And I look at the linebackers and defensive backs as well and see some really good players.
So as you're analyzing and watching, are you getting a feel for what some of the teams are watching as well? For example, there's maybe a bigger huddle around the linebackers than there are the defensive backs?
Well, I think coaches and scouts are spread out to the variety of positions, right? They want to have eyes on everybody. And also there's tape after the fact where they're able to go back and watch everything. You've got your DB coaches watching the DBs typically because they've got to make their assessments on that. And your DC is going to float around between the different positions. Now, where is the GM? Where is the director of Canadian Scouting? Maybe that can be a tip-off. But again, those guys are having discussions with their scouting staffs. They're also having discussions with other teams because this is a gathering of personnel from across the league. So there's not a ton you can gather from where they're positioned. I think there are more things to be gleaned from maybe which teams send scouts or extra scouts to certain pro days in terms of interest to some of these guys who may have NFL opportunities, or maybe you have to wait a year or two for. You can interpret some things from that if you really look into the numbers. But at the Combine, everybody's there. Most of the teams are going to interview a sizable amount of prospects. And anyone that they don't speak to there, they will try to speak to after the fact.
Anyone in your estimation really helped themselves over the course of the 4 days in Edmonton?
I think there was a couple people who really aided their case. The big star to me was Nicholas Henning. I knew he was a freak going in. I've been talking about this guy for months, the offensive tackle from Queens. Just 2 years ago, he was an All-Canadian at tight end. They said, hey, if you want to play pro, you're probably going to have to add some weight, become an offensive tackle. He's done it and hasn't lost any of the athleticism. He runs a 4.9 in the 40-yard dash. We haven't seen anything sub-5 from an offensive lineman at the CFL Combine in 10 years. He is a generational freak in that aspect. There are already NFL teams calling CFL staffers in Henning's camp asking, hey, who is this guy? Can we get the tape of this event so we can assess him? He may have some NFL opportunities as well. Other guys, Eric Rasko, the linebacker from Angelo State, he's a guy who was added late to the draft class. His NFL draft year was actually last year because he gained his Canadian citizenship late, learned he had the opportunity to become a Canadian. So teams didn't know as much about him. Tested through the roof, looked really comfortable in his first exposure to the Canadian game, and interviewed really well as well, answered a lot of tough questions from the teams in terms of, is he committed to coming up here and adapting to this new sport in a lot of ways. He seems gung-ho about it, and I think he really helped himself in that regard. And then Aloha Latendresse Regimbault, the quarterback from McGill University, who's probably going to convert to receiver at the next level. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks come through the CFL Combine and get asked if they try their hand at some receiver drills. Normally, it's a bit of a disaster. He looked super smooth. He's an incredible athlete. And I think you look at him closer to a Brad Sinopoli, who went through that process a number of years ago, and he's more athletic than Sinopoli was when he went in the 4th round, and I believe it was 2011.
I'm also assuming the pronunciation of his name was perfection there. I know Dave's going to have to start working on that one.
I was impressed.
I don't know. Some people like to give me flack for my French pronunciations, but I was a French immersion kid, so I got to put a little gusto on it.
No, you can just teach the rest of us. Come on, I'm jealous. Dang. So I know teams are not making final decisions based on one weekend. That's a lot of pressure to be putting on these athletes. But looking at kind of the broader group of players from Saskatchewan, maybe, how would you rate this year's provincial contingent?
Well, there's 4 strong contenders from Saskatchewan, and these guys are all really good players. I think 2 of them probably improved their stock at the Combine. 2 of them probably didn't have the weekend that they were looking for. Charlie Parks, I think, helped himself. He's a bit of an undersized defensive lineman, but teams love the tape. I thought he was one of the best pass rushers out there consistently, down in and down out throughout the one-on-ones. Ethan Graham was sort of as you expected along the offensive line, the tackle from Regina. Teams really like his size, and I don't think he did anything to hurt himself. Unfortunately, the other 2, when you look at Carson Sombach from Regina, the defensive back, he's got a bit of an uphill climb just based on size. His brother Jackson was drafted a couple of years ago to the Calgary Stampeders very late. He was arguably, I think, based on talent alone, maybe a top 3 DB in that draft class, but he goes late in the draft because he just doesn't have the size and measurables. I don't think Carson's quite the same player as Jackson, and he has the same size limitations. So that's going to be an uphill climb for him. And then Jack Warwick, we know how good he's been at right tackle for the Saskatchewan Huskies for a number of years. But the movement skills are not quite there when you look at the testing. And then he puts up 12 reps on the bench as an offensive lineman. That's actually down from what he showed at East-West Bowl a year ago. That's not a great sign when you're looking to make it to the professional level at a position that requires a lot of strength. Yes, the bench press can be overrated, but teams do look at it as a metric of how willing are you in the gym, right? Are you committed to getting yourself ready for the pro level? That's going to raise a red flag with some teams.
JC, I just want to circle back to something you mentioned, quarterbacks being asked to try their hand at receiver. Jackson Tuchinski from the University of Manitoba did that here in Regina at last year's Combine, and I don't know if he was given a serious look. You feel that that's changed now? A lot of teams are, okay, let's see really legitimately if you can fit this.
Well, Jackson Tuchinski got a UDFA opportunity with the Edmonton Elks, and he's actually back under contract with them right now, if I'm not mistaken. He'll be in another rookie camp, at least unless something changes here in the near future. So he's being given that opportunity to try and maybe attempt to make the transition. But when you compare what Tuchinski looked like a year ago to what La Tendresse Regibald looked like this year, it's night and day to me. There are still rough edges, don't get me wrong. You can't just pick up a position overnight and look perfect. But the explosiveness, the speed, the smooth nature of his route running ability, even the hands, I think Aloha is just another level of athlete compared to Jackson, a tenth of a second faster. He's broad jumping almost 11 feet. Like, this is a generational type guy. There's a reason he was the number 1 Cégep quarterback in the province of Quebec and led Vanier to a Ball d'Or championship there before he sort of shocked the recruiting world by going to McGill because he felt it was the best fit for him academically. Every team across the country wanted a piece of this kid because of how special he was athletically, and he rushes for over 100 yards a game. You're talking about, maybe not quite as fast, but a sort of Trey Ford level athlete, but with receiver size, which Trey never possessed.
So maybe just a follow-up on 2 points. Number 1, did he throw any footballs at the Combine? And number 2, if, say, he's drafted and a team says, okay, go back for your final year of eligibility, would he go back then as a receiver?
I assume he would go back as a quarterback. I didn't ask him that specifically, but he would go with the knowledge that he would have to train as a receiver and up his skills. I'm not sure you want to let this kid out of the building, though, if you're trying to develop him just because of the upside. And in terms of throwing the ball, 3 quarterbacks in attendance there, I thought he threw the ball the best of all 3. Like, he was the most accurate. The passing statistics aren't necessarily the best from McGill. Not that he was always placed in the best of circumstances. He wasn't super accurate, made some poor decisions, but he was the most accurate of the three quarterbacks at the combine. And I thought he was noticeably better than a guy like Christian Veilleux from Georgia State, who, was a highly recruited prospect, went to Penn State first, started games at Pitt, and then ultimately ended up at Georgia State. Aloha showed more arm talent in my mind.
It's so much different being able to attend a combine and physically be in the building, being in person versus on paper. So when I think about that, I know there was a CFL draft prospect in Devin Cromwell, right, who wasn't a full participant due to injury. So maybe give CFL fans an idea of what they can expect there.
Yeah, Devin Cromwell was a guy who impressed me a ton. I had a chance to sit down and interview him, originally from the University of Guelph, but transferred down first to Texas Tech and then Michigan State because he is a freak athlete and tested at his pro day at Michigan State. He was never going to actually participate on the field at the CFL Combine, was coming up to interview, but unfortunately, he wasn't even able to finish testing at Michigan State because he tore his meniscus while doing the vertical jump. Now, the wrinkle to that story is he vertical jumped 40.5 inches, tore his meniscus doing that, then went out and still broad jumped 11 feet 3 inches, which would have tied for the best result at the NFL Combine. He did that on one leg. This guy is an absurd athlete. CFL teams will have to wait for him a little bit. He's in surgery today. I'm not sure what the results of that have been. The recovery time is going to vary dramatically based on whether they just cleaned up the meniscus or they had to do a full repair. It could be 2 months. It could be upwards of 6 months. But teams will be willing to wait for him because you don't get guys who are that athletic coming through the CFL draft very often, and certainly not at the DB position.
How hard is the CFL draft when you consider the talent that you have to assess and then you go ahead and put it up against, well, is he going to stay or is he going to go to the NFL?
In my mind, it's the hardest draft in all of sports. The amount of variables, not just in assessing, will this guy be here in camp? Will he be in the NFL for multiple years? Will we ever even see him? But the added element of how do you compare a kid coming out of St. Mary's in the AUS, where the competition may not be the best, versus a guy who's playing at a Division I school, but maybe didn't see the field all the time because of the level of competition within his own locker room, right? There are challenges there in terms of the apples to apples comparison that the combine helps with, but doesn't fully dismiss. You have to make judgment calls based on who you think has more upside and, judging those levels of competition. The other wrinkle is, CFL players, especially early in their career, they make good money, but they don't make life-changing money like the NFL. And some of these kids are super smart, right? If you've got an engineering degree from the Ivy League and you're coming into a CFL camp as a 6th-round pick, how many years are you willing to cut it out for $75,000 before you say, hey, I can make $300,000 at my entry-level job at my engineering firm, right? It's a factor that teams have to consider. And how much does this guy love football? What are his opportunities off the field? And are we going to have him for as long as it takes to develop him?
So then what do the next steps look like for CFL fans who are trying to follow along with this? The evaluation process happens at the Combine, Pro Days. Is there more communication between these players and teams, or are we just waiting to see how the boards settle the night of the draft?
There will be more communication between these prospects and these teams over the coming month. It will be private, behind closed doors. They will interview additional guys that maybe they didn't speak to in the Combine. They will follow up with some of the guys that maybe they still have questions about or they are extra interested in. There's also a couple of lingering pro days out there, guys who haven't tested yet that still have to. So Nolan Ulm, for example, is a very talented receiver from Eastern Washington who is not at the CFL Combine because he's testing today in Spokane. Once you see those results, they're going to influence how you stack up your board. So there's a few more odds and ends that have to be arranged. Then the big factor is going to be the NFL draft. 3 days of drafting. There's going to be a couple of Canadians taken. Certainly Akeem Messidor would seem like a first-round prospect at this stage, but there could be guys like Logan Taylor from Boston College and Rene Conga from Louisville who get a chance to go on day 2 or day 3. And then after the fact, who's getting those UDFA offers? Because if a guy is signing a contract, that's going to mean you're not going to see him for at least half a year. And then based on what incentives and guarantees are as a part of that contract or what other players are on the roster of the team they sign on, you have to make a judgment call as to whether or not you think they have a good shot of sticking on that team or whether you think they'll become available sooner. All of that is going to influence the decisions that are made when the CFL draft comes around.
Hear of any good questions asked in the interview process?
You know, I didn't hear any specific questions, but I know the return of Jim Barker was certainly a point of conversation among prospects. He is of the old school variety. I think he liked to rattle a few guys' cages, and there were some defensive prospects coming out of those Toronto Argonauts interviews going, wow, I don't know how I handled that, because he's coming at me with some high heat.
The other part last season, of the Combine here in Regina was the Rules Committee met. All the executives get together. I don't know. If I was you, I'm having that glass up against my ear, up against the wall, trying to hear everything that I can, especially with the rule changes that are going to be implemented in this year. Did you hear anything coming out of discussions like that between executives from team to team?
There wasn't a ton on rule changes, to be entirely honest. Those meetings happened in advance of the prospects and the media arriving. You know, typically there's a little bit more overlap there, but everyone was gone by the time we got into town. So those conversations did happen. We'll hear more about that in the coming days. There are whispers about things that are happening around the league, you know, certain roster moves, certain things that are tabled, nothing that's to be reported yet, but it is a gathering point for people across the league. And when these guys are in different cities and they're traveling to, you know, different locations throughout the United States and Canada scouting, they don't get to see each other all of the time constantly. This is the moment when everyone's in town. Right. And so everyone's going out together. They're reminiscing, they're talking ball, and they're discussing the topics du jour in the league, their opinions on things, some of the rumors they're hearing. There's a lot of information that gets shared at Combine that then results in things that you dig into a little bit later.
This might just be a whole bunch of people complaining on social media, which has never happened before, JC. But there was certainly enough people complaining about the lack of a stream for the CFL Combine on the internet. And we all know there's little to be desired on the CFL website, and they're working on it, right? They're working on it. But how important do you personally think it would be to have that accessibility to stream the Combine as a fan from Saskatchewan and help the league ultimately grow fan interest and draft prospects?
I'm a big advocate of streaming the event. I think it can only be a positive. Now, I know there are certain challenges to pulling that off. The Combine was in Edmonton, of course. We were there 3 years ago. That was the first time that they decided not to stream the Combine. And part of the reason why is they simply didn't have the setup at the Commonwealth Fieldhouse where they were doing all the stuff to properly film it. The angles didn't work. The equipment needed would have been too onerous. So there are logistical challenges that prevent a proper stream at a space where it's actually pretty well suited for the event. They put the practice portion at Foot Field this time around. I'm not sure how you would film that. You'd probably have to bring in some sort of truck, I would imagine. I'm not the television guy of this group. But I would like to see these athletes showcased a lot better than the league currently does. I think there's a lot left to be desired about their coverage of the Combine. And ultimately, we've seen the numbers in the past. Like, Combine streams don't get a ton of attention, don't get a ton of views. I understand that from the league perspective. But if you want to grow anything, you have to invest in everything. And if you want to convince people that these athletes are someone that they should care about, then you have to be willing to endure a little bit of cost, a little bit of a logistical challenge in order to show people that you care about them. And I think sometimes the CFL falls short of that mark. They don't cover their own draft in enough depth. They do not showcase these prospects as well as they should. And having a stream is just one simple way to make it easier for fans to engage throughout the offseason.
Coach of the Year, the Ted Gavea Award, also handed out. It sounded like it was a very unique and well-attended and well-received event, even though the season's only been over for 4 months. Your thoughts on the delay in handing out the awards? Was it a good idea?
I'm split on it. I like the idea of having an event. Unfortunately, I wasn't in attendance. I arrived the very next morning after the trophies were handed out, but I heard good things about the ceremony. I like the fact that you have something attached to Combine that maybe fans can attend. You can generate some buzz. Back when we had CFL week, I think that was a big draw to it. Maybe this brings a little bit more of that feel to this event. But on the other hand, there's not going to be the same level of media attention. And I think when you're handing out awards, it's to recognize people for achievement and put them front and center. And, you know, Corey Mace has gotten plenty of accolades, as he should. I don't think he was ever hurting for attention during Grey Cup week because he wasn't handed out that award. That's probably not true. But when you look at the guys who work tirelessly in the front office, who got that Ted Gavea award, they deserve more recognition. And that's not just J.O., that's everyone below him as well who shares in that trophy. When you're doing it at a time when there's not going to be the same attendance in another city from where these guys are located, maybe they didn't get their stars and their laurels as much as they should have. I would like to see that hyped up a little bit more and their faces put front and center because they do incredible work.
JC Abbott of 3 Down Nation. Appreciate the time as always. And look forward to the draft next month.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
Tune
appreciate
into
it.
3 Down Nation for all your draft coverage. We'll go live the entire night, every single pick.
And you're going to scoop them again, aren't you?
I won't scoop them. That's not what I do. I will. Fingers crossed the website actually works this year, so I'm not having to scroll between different social media feeds figuring out who's being drafted.
But they're working on the website. It should be fine.
Yeah, working on it. On it.
It's fine. It's fine. Enjoy the draft, man. We'll talk soon.
Have a good one.
You too. Thank you, JC Abbott from 3 Down Nation, as always, for joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. The Greek-style pizza that has become famous around the world, plus all the Greek and Canadian food you can't get enough of. Western Pizza, the local legend. And, of course, it is the Monday edition of the Sports Cage, brought to you by Smoke 'em Diesel. Still to come. Well, we have plenty to come. In fact, we have Darian Durant after 5 o'clock. We have Patch Chat, Brad Herauf, head coach of the Regina Pats, is going to join us ahead of Game 3 tomorrow. But coming up before all of that, we still need to talk a little Blue Jays baseball, my friend, because we did not make enough time for that right off the front of the show. We also do have your clutch performer, your sprinkle of the day, that and so much more. Hang tight. It's the Sports Cage, and it's on the home of local sports, 620 CKRM, and streaming at sportscage.com.
Listen weekdays at noon for Saskatchewan Today on CKRM with your host, Ryan Young. Offering the most extensive agricultural news coverage with precision weather meteorologists. In an industry that moves fast, stay updated with the latest, most reliable information in ag news. Crisis and trends, all in one place. Available anytime at SaskagToday.com. Saskag Today, your trusted source for all things agriculture. Sponsored by Affinity Credit Union on 620 CKRM.
What's going on in the markets? When is the right time to invest? What should you do with your money today? When Lindsay had questions, she talked to Brian Golly.
We looked at all the different investments we had out there. He helped us pull it all together and determine what would work best for our lifestyle.
Don't guess with your money this RRSP season.
He's trustworthy and he's very easy to work with.
Call Brian Golly at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
I'm Joan Pratchler, Saskatchewan NDP MLA for Regina Rochdale. 78,000 Saskatchewan children are living in poverty. That's a higher rate than anywhere else in Canada. As a grandmother, this breaks my heart. It's time for a government that will deliver change. Saskatchewan NDP MLAs are focused on making life more affordable for families. contact me 306-531-3125.
Sask Lotteries has over 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
You cut the grass, we'll cut the deal at Brant Agriculture. Get 0% financing for 84 months, plus cash rebates and bonuses on select John Deere turf equipment. Save on compact utility tractors, riding lawnmowers, and utility vehicles. Get it from people who get it. Offer ends April 30th, 2026. Some restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
Hi, Sean here from the Rusty Shovel. We've moved to a brand new location on the East Vic Service Road. Bigger displays, more products, everything you need for your next outdoor project. Paving stone, artificial turf, sprinklers, you name it, we've got it. We'll help you plan it, price it, and load it, or connect you with the right contractor. And we'll be showing off our products at the Spring Home Show, so come say hi. Visit therustyshovel.ca or come see us on the East Vic Service Road. Great projects start at the Shovel. The Rusty Shovel Landscape Shop. 2 green thumbs up.
The Sports Cage Clutch Performer for Keln Solar. Thinking about saving money by using solar power? Keln Solar is a local family company that can put solar panels on your home, business, or farm. KelnSolar.com.
Yes, welcome back to the Sports Cage. Time to do a couple of clutch performers. As usual, I'm going to have more than one. Bear with me.
Your show, your rules, you do it.
It's hard to pick just one, especially when you're coming off of the weekend, right? Because every Monday doing the show, that's 3 days worth of sporting events.
And just think next week you'll have an extra day because there's Holiday Friday.
Good Friday. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Oh, that's going to be such a busy show. That's great. I love it. The way I like it. Okay, clutch performer for Keln Solar. Can I start?
Go for it.
It's your show.
Gary Woodland captured an emotional victory at the Houston Open, his first PGA Tour win since 2019, and since having brain surgery in 2023. He finished 21 under, winning by 5 strokes. The comeback highlighting his resilience and battling health challenges, including PTSD. And he secured his return to the winner's circle. I thought that was such a cool moment. The entire gallery just exploded, and you could see how proud he was to be back. Very emotional.
Yeah, absolutely. Good one.
Very emotional. I have one more.
Can I just piggyback on the back end of that one?
Of course you can.
Because if you didn't see it, when he was walking down the 18th hole, the guys who he was paired with were telling the crowd to hype him up. So right here you can see, I believe it was Minwoo and was one of the guys. But yeah, they're just like, yeah, come on, guys, he's going to win.
Let's go.
So,
that's so cool. That's when it's one of those moments that are bigger than golf, right? So that's my clutch performer number 1. Clutch performer number 2, you got to go with the Regina Pats Canadians defeating the Moose Jaw Winmar Warriors 5-2 in Game 5 to win the championship. So capturing second straight provincial title, jumping out to an early lead, responding strongly after that Game 4 loss, and they got to win the game on home ice in a packed Cooperator Center, rank number 6. See, we got the stream or the picture up on the stream here. Very fitting. Congratulations to those guys who are going to be back on the ice later this week in the TELUS Cup Western Regionals.
Blonde hair is awesome too. I love that tradition. Love it.
They got to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Dave, do you want to go next?
All right, Hoopla was held in Moose Jaw over the weekend. Congratulations to the organizers. I know it's not easy to do with all the teams from all around the province, but they got it done. Quickly running down your winners for you. 1A girls was the Norquay Knights. The Priestville Panthers were the 2A girls. Wynyard, they were the winners as they've now joined the exclusive list to become a third seat to actually win. So they did that in the 3A girls. Here in Regina, Harvest City Reapers, they won with a victory over Meadow Lake in the 4A girls. The 5A girls, Regina Laboldis. They went ahead and they really dominated front to back all season long, so congratulations to them. On the boys' side, the 1A winners, the Porcupine Plain Bears. St. Brew won the 2A boys, 3A Regina Christian School, 4A. Again, Moose Jaw Central Cyclones, they do it again. They've been dominant all the way through. And then 5A, what a game. And this is one of those where they used to be able to broadcast it, right? Like local companies would broadcast it and it would be awesome. And I didn't see it, and maybe it was somewhere. But Prince Albert Crusaders came back from a 20-point deficit and tied things up in the final seconds. And then the game would go to overtime and they would fall to Saskatoon Holy Cross 102-97. Wow. But 20 points they made up in the fourth quarter or second half. It was awesome. Really cool. So congratulations to the volunteers. Congratulations to all the winners. And if you missed any of them, go to sportscage.com. They are all there.
Can we get the little golf sound effect? Because I feel like that would have been low-hanging fruit for the first one.
That would have been yours, yeah.
But that's still incredible. Hoopla is such a fun time.
It is.
I got lots of celebration buttons.
Oh, and before we go over to you, Colson, real quick, I did also want to give a shout out. Rob Vanstone. It's his birthday today.
Oh, Rob Vanstone, yes.
He is filled with so much incredible knowledge. That guy deserves a clutch performer, too. Happy, 25th birthday, Rob?
26.
Oh.
26.
So you always aim young.
Yeah.
Just in case there's that wiggle room to come back up.
Can I mention the cool people that he shares a birthday with?
Yeah, sure.
Robert Sherman, former Seattle Seahawk, is 38. Celine Dion.
That's not a bad one.
61.
It's a pretty good one.
Ian Ziering, who is Steve on Beverly Hills 90210 and does that little shark thing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
62 today. And then
I never watched that show. I'm sorry.
You never watched Beverly Hills 90210? No, you wouldn't.
It was a little before my time.
No, it wasn't. It was right at the right time. And then Stanley Kirk Burrell shares a birthday with Rob Vanstone. Stanley Kirk Burrell is 63.
Well, the only one among all of those birthday people that gets a clutch performer is Rob. That's it.
Well, yeah.
I'm not recognizing that last one.
Stanley Kirk Burrell?
Yeah. That's not abnormal for me on this show.
No. But Stanley Kirk Burrell is his real name.
Okay.
He actually is the rapper MC Hammer.
Oh.
You can't touch this.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I'm pretty sure that I've seen Rob dance to that song. Why not? They share a birthday.
Well, and we were even talking about this before we got on air. I had no idea who that was either. And
Candy's favorite artist next to Celine Dion.
I was just under the impression MC Hammer was his name all along. Like that was on his birth certificate, right?
You never know. You
Stranger
never know.
things have happened.
Yes.
Prince was going by a symbol for a while, so
yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, Cody and Gloria were talking about those weird names. I don't think MC Hammer was on that list.
No, it could be.
Milwaukee Drill would be next, right?
Give it time, Dave.
There we go.
True.
I'll rattle off a few here. I'm surprised neither of you picked the Blue Jays with their 50 strikeout outing.
Well, I was going to get to that later.
I know. We'll get to baseball later. So I've just figured, give them a mention there.
That's pretty big.
Give them love. Kid.
Yeah. Sort of clutch performer. You know how the Regina Fire and Police departments do their annual hockey game, right?
Yes, they do.
Well, the New York departments do theirs as well. And this year, the police tight game won it out 3-2. And if you're watching the stream here right now, you can see at the very end of the game, couple shot attempts, not going anywhere, and a brawl starts. And it's a bench clearing brawl.
It's a bench clearing brawl. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I love that.
I don't think the refs got paid enough for that.
No.
But yeah, I was like that. I don't know if that's a clutch performer, but it's going in there.
You know, the one that I don't understand in that game is that I believe it was the NYPD that was wearing green, but they don't have numbers on their jerseys. Like, I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah. Are they all undercover?
Could be.
Sorry.
Might have been the undercover division playing this year. And then I got a couple basketball ones for you here. UConn upsetting Duke.
Oh.
Which, it's a 2-1, not a huge upset, but the final shot, here's the call of the game.
Incredible.
Seconds to go. Got to cut and run through the ball. They'll do better than this guy. Get it into Boozer. Back for Saar. Ahead. Boozer. That ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds. Mullins tosses it up. It's good.
0.3 seconds left. 1 point lead.
And the coach is just getting his jacket ripped off on the sideline.
I grabbed way too many clips of this
because it was incredible.
Yeah, because like here's just the crowd noise, and then right before He grabs the ball. Turnover. Yeah, crowd gets quiet here.
Oh.
And then loses it.
Yeah.
Right. So I grabbed way too many clips of this, but
his post-game interview was actually pretty incredible too. I mean, there was obviously a couple curse words that snuck their way in there that understandable. I guess they bleeped it out. It's fine.
Yeah.
But he was elated. He was not expecting to shoot that at all.
No.
Passes it off to his teammate. Forgetting who.
He got the tip, then got the steal, passes it off, gets it back, shoots the game winner, and it's like, all right.
And from the logo, that was more than a like that was behind.
Yeah, it was deep.
The three. It was very impressive. And a moment that player will never forget.
Nope.
And now it lives on the internet forever.
Forever, yeah.
Yeah. And last one, like I said, I grabbed way too many clips here. But here's the play-by-play guys watching it happen. So these guys called a lot of basketball, seen a lot of things happening. Their faces, they are shocked.
Mullins tosses it up.
They're just dumbfounded.
Oh, yeah.
This is why you need to watch the stream, because I can't even describe that facial expression.
Yeah, and they let the play-by-play guy finish his call.
Impossible.
And they're like, what?
March means drama. The deflection, the reaction, and then the major Nuggets out of Indiana. They all can shoot. Nyla from deep. Astounding.
The freshman,
Braylon Mullins.
Wait for it.
What a play. All Duke had to do was hold the ball there. Absolutely.
And I'm like, and just dropping the obvious take right there. All they had to do was hold the ball. I'm like, perfect.
Thanks, buddy. Well, you could tell he looked like he was going to faint.
Yeah.
The second broadcaster there, I was a little concerned when he leaned back in his chair. Kind of looked like he was going to hit the floor.
Yeah. So that was my first basketball one. And then if you're a Raptors fan, Raptors had a big win over the Orlando Magic. I think it's their, I can't do math quick. That's what, 52 points?
Yeah, they went 52. On a 31-point run.
Yeah.
31-0.
Yeah, but won by 52, which is their biggest win in like a few years. And then, 31-point run straight, which is an NBA record, which is just nuts.
Yeah.
So, I think it was about 5:30 left in the first quarter. Orlando scored a bucket, and then they didn't score again until midway through the second quarter, which that is very easily how you lose a basketball game.
7 minutes and 48 seconds between buckets, and it's a 30-year record for the NBA. But like how can't you even get fouled? Like, just pretend to trip over somebody or something.
Basketball players flop all the time. Look
That's
at LeBron.
A foul now, too, though.
Yeah.
Still
you can still get away with it, though.
But, I know that, how many timeouts were taken in that, that 31-point run, right? Because
come on, guys. Gotta do something.
The coach is going to do everything he can to disrupt that.
Oh, my goodness.
Maybe after they get to 22, he's like, just whatever. We'll score someday. Very clutch.
Very clutch.
Colson coming up clutch.
Yeah,
I grabbed way too much.
Well, I usually feel bad because I'm the one that comes in with 10 because I can't decide. So I appreciate you stepping up. I like it. Okay. Clutch Performers. Brought to you by Keln Solar. You know that they can help with your livestock opportunity, but now book your solar quotes for your home, farm, or cabin. Save money with the local company, Keln Solar in Lumsden.
Before we go, just talking basketball real quick there. Mm-hmm. I have a dilemma. So I'm in a couple fantasy basketball leagues, big whoop. One of them is with a lot of my family, and I've made it into the final. The problem is I'm playing against my wife. You want to double down on this? Her birthday's this weekend. Now, she is also the person where if I just sat everybody, she would be very mad at me for not trying, right?
Yeah.
So I have to make this competitive, but
not win.
Exactly. So I'm in a pickle right now. So, any advice?
Prairieland Rentals text line.
That's exactly what I was going to say,
306-936-6262. What in the world is Colson going to do in this dilemma? Wife's birthday this week, facing her in the final. Are you confident in your team beating hers if you were to try? Does she listen to the show?
She does. there's a good chance she's hearing this right now. So,
so she's going to be mad at that right away.
Potentially.
Because you've already discussed the fact that you're going to flop, so that's not good. You should have kept that to yourself.
I'm presenting the opportunities that are available to me and asking for advice on which ones would be best. I was the best team in this league. Part of that is just due to the fact that I pay attention and put my players in. So, do I have the best team? Maybe not, but...
How much trouble will you be in if you just win?
I don't know. Like that is such a scales of justice kind of thing, right? Like the one scale, like if I flop, like you'll be happy, I won't, but you'll be happy, and if you're happy, I'm happy. But then the other side is that if I flop and then you call me on it, then you're not going to be happy, and I'll be happy that
Idea just came to me. What if we both pulled all our players and we tied? Ties
but what's the fun in that?
Right.
You know what? I'll tell you right now. This discussion would never happen in the Thomas household because it's all out. Blood, eye for an eye. No matter what we're doing, the competition is on. Like, I double skunked her. Yeah, so what? She was in labor, but still, I double skunked her on January the 3rd, 2005. And it was the biggest beating that I have ever administrated to my wife because it was just absolutely immaculate the way I played the cards.
And do you continue to hear about this?
Oh, heck, I bring it up.
Yeah.
So I would hear it. Absolutely. Okay. So what? Little contraction here, there.
It's fine.
15-2, 15-4, suck it up.
Yeah, focus. Yeah, I would not go easy at all.
Okay.
Absolutely not. When it comes to me and my partner, Dane, no. I'd kick his, you know what?
306-936-6262. There we go.
What should Colson do? Let us know. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side, see what people have to say. This is the Sportscage. It's on the home of local sports, 620 CKRM, and streaming at sportscage.com.
Winter in Saskatchewan tests everything, our patience, vehicles, and sometimes our bumpers. From icy parking lot dings to serious highway mishaps, choosing local matters. At Regina Motor Products Collision Center, we're Saskatchewan-owned, run, and we drive these roads too. An SGI-accredited full-service collision center working on all makes and models. Submit your SGI claim and book your appraisal. It's easy. When you need repairs you can trust, it's neighbors helping neighbors. Regina Motor Products Collision Center, south at Highways 1 and 6 Albert Street, rmpchevrolet.com.
The Early Bird Spring Sale is on now at Extreme Hockey and Sport. The entire store is 15 to 25% off. Brands like Yeti, CCM, Bauer, all clothing and apparel. If it's in stock, it's on sale, and it must go to make room for new product. All purchases in February qualify for a custom Yeti summer package valued at $5,000. Locally owned, community-focused Extreme Hockey and Sport. 1425 McIntyre Street, conveniently located at the Cooperator Center, and online at extremehockey.net.
You keep calling that guy your partner.
He is.
Since when do you have a partner?
Since my seeding got serious. Andrew from Dutch Egg shows up on the farm, looks at my drill, and helps me pick the right openers.
So not the kind of partner that borrows tools and never brings them back?
Nope. The kind who fixes problems before they start.
Sounds useful.
Well, in this line of work, you want a partner who knows precision.
Dutch Openers, your precision seeding partner. Built to perform and backed by on-farm expertise. Visit DutchOpeners.com. Dutch Agriculture, on-farm for you.
I'm Alina Young, Saskatchewan NDP MLA for Regina South Albert. The government's bad news budget will cost you more. Power rates are rising, and there's no end to taxes on groceries and fuel. And 3 times more money is being spent to service the debt than on police. Clearly, change is needed. Saskatchewan NDP MLAs will make your life more affordable and make our communities safer and fix healthcare. Contact me at 306-545-0300.
Hi, Sean here from the Rusty Shovel. We've moved to a brand new location on the East Vic Service Road. Bigger displays, more products, everything you need for your next outdoor project. Paving stone, artificial turf, sprinklers, you name it, we've got it. We'll help you plan it, price it, and load it. Or connect you with the right contractor. And we'll be showing off our products at the Spring Home Show. So come say hi. Visit therustyshovel.ca or come see us on the East Vic Service Road. Great projects start at the Shovel. The Rusty Shovel Landscape Shop. 2 green thumbs up.
It's time for the Sports Ticker. Brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport is the home of the Price Match Guarantee. 1425 McIntyre Street, the Cooperator Center, Moose Jaw Temple Garden Center, and online at extremehockey.net.
In the SJHL playoffs, you got the Yorkton Terriers traveling to Melville, facing the Millionaires at 7 o'clock tonight. Terriers up in the best-of-7 series, 3-2. Now, the winner of that series will be playing the Flin Flon Bombers. Nipawin Hawks in Weyburn taking on the Red Wings. And, of course, Weyburn is in front in that series, 3-2 as well. Battleford's North Stars are awaiting the winner of that series. And World Men's Curling Championship, Canada back in the win column. Matt Dunstone and his Winnipeg rink rolled to a 9-2 win over Portland earlier this morning. Or Poland. Portland?
That's all right.
Yeah, they pulled away with a big finish that ended the game early. The win now moves Canada to 3-2 with a matchup against Japan coming up at 7 o'clock tonight. NHL regular season, the Flames, they are in Colorado to face the Avs. Interested what the sprinkle could be on that one. Vancouver Canucks in Vegas taking on the Golden Knights. Tortorella making his debut.
Interesting.
Yeah, that should be fun. We'll see.
There's two dandy games that are off the beaten path.
Yeah.
That Vegas game tonight to see Tortorella and the Toronto-Anaheim game.
Well, because Radko Gudas, his status is still not clear. Obviously, the last time these two teams faced each other is when he had that hit on Matthews, which effectively ended his regular season. So no one stood up for Matthews at that point from the Leafs. I was curious to see if maybe there would be some repercussions tonight. The more and more Leafs fans I talk to, I don't think that's going to happen, but it would be an interesting storyline to watch. But he did get, like Radko Gudas, served his suspensions, and then he was injured. He was in a walking boot, so it's undetermined. I think he's going to be more of a game-time decision, but at this point, don't you just sit him?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there might have. Not that the NHL would ever dictate rosters for a game, but might just highly encourage him not to play tonight.
Yes, yeah. Major League Baseball regular season got underway last week. Of course, Toronto Blue Jays will now be hosting the Colorado Rockies. 5:07 first pitch, so that's coming up here pretty quickly. Pons will be on the mound to make his Jays debut. And it is official. The Super Bowl is heading back to Las Vegas in 2029. It comes as a surprise to absolutely no one. Sportscage.com poll. Let's go back quick to that John Tortorella going to the Vegas Golden Knights after the Cassidy firing. Do you think that's going to help them being in a playoff spot right now? 8 games left in the regular season. Was it necessary? Vote right now. You can go to sportscage.com. That was your sports ticker brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport. By the way, you can always join in that conversation on the Prairie Land Rentals text line at any point.
Just so you know, Gudas is playing.
They're confirmed now?
Yep. And he has been quoted to say, "I have to play," and he will stand behind his mistakes.
Oh.
So
this might have just got a little bit more interesting.
I wonder how many Toronto Marlies that stand over 6'6" have been called up from the minors for the game. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I don't expect anything to really happen or go down tonight, but the fact that he's in, I'm going to have to check that one out now. There's no way I'm missing that. Probably nothing that's going to go down. Do we do sprinkle of the day here now? Oh, well, you know what? We'll take a break. We'll get Crofty on the line.
He's right there.
Oh, he's here. Well, sorry, Colson. Sorry, Crofty. I didn't mean to leave you hanging.
No worries.
Dan Croft Electric, of course, joining us on the line. So I'm kind of glad that I'm not in this NASCAR pool because I feel like I would be doing awful at this point.
Yeah. You guys are having a little bit of a rough show, too. I was listening earlier, and it sounded like I heard Dave say he beats his wife. At crib.
In cribbage, Dan.
At crib.
In cribbage.
Okay, yep. The phones are ringing.
Context is everything.
HR standing outside the door. Perfect. Thanks, Crofty.
You bet. Well, I kind of owe you one. Like we have a little beef again. Seeing as you're calling me Crofty again.
Well, see, I was filling in, and I mistakenly on Thursday I just got. You know what? Because I looked so highly upon you, everyone in my world is Crofty, and so Sharky became Crofty for a couple of segments.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know. I don't have the stream in front of me. I'm on my cell phone, but like that picture of me is usually up there on the stream.
Yeah, and nice blue Croft Electric shirt.
Yeah, and then picture Sharky. So quite a different look. Now, to be fair, you made Sharky's day. He phoned me right after, and was so happy. So
yeah.
So like, I guess we'll take that as a positive.
We should just Photoshop Sharky's face on that picture.
Oh, don't give Colson any ideas.
Oh, no. But you know what? We should talk a little bit about what you have to offer at Croft Electric. But first, I had a quick question for you. I've owned a couple of older houses, Crofty, and I have seen some interesting DIY hacks in homes. Are there any crazy ones in the Regina, Lumsden area that you've seen and you wish people just would stop trying to do themselves?
Well, without, actually throwing what I call weekend warriors or, those DUI husbands that are not DUI. That's a whole other thing. Those husbands that try and do the work. Well, they might be DUI. They might have had a few pints when they were trying to wire stuff up. I guess I'm just following. We all are tongue-tied today, eh? I'm Portland and all the things.
Oh, man.
No, I'm all distracted. For sure. Call us. Let our professionals come in and fix those problems. Let us take, and that's the thing is, these guys and girls that are out there trying to do their own projects, do what you're good at. That's what we say about the farmers and ranchers and all that kind of stuff. Do what you're good at. And, kind of the same mindset I have with what things like, I'm not a good mechanic, so I take my truck out to somebody else to work on it. Let the professionals do what they're good at, and you do what you're good at. So, I think I saved that. I'm still tongue-tied over here.
I'm going to go ahead and take the high road here.
Yeah?
I'm taking the high road, but I am going to ask, when it comes to job size, again, I've got these lights in the basement. I have no idea why they're on a dimmer switch, how they're on a dimmer switch, or any of that. Is that something that's too small? I know that you guys can help with cabins and making sure that everything is up to code at the end of the day. Is it all kinds of projects you'll work on?
That is a great question. I had this exact conversation with a guy a couple weeks ago. Kind of thought we were too big to do some of this little stuff. And no, we have 4 full-time service crews that do exactly that. They come out. We have Cody and Kyle are 2 of our best that come out. Cody's amazing with fixing those weekend warrior projects. They're coming in on an aluminum house inspection or knob and tube, or coming down to your basement and telling you why those are on dimmers and maybe taking them off dimmers or fixing them, whatever you need. We have the crew that can do that for you, as well as, the farms, the ranches, the cabins, and everything else, too.
Well, they do it all, and you know what? They do it right. They only need to do it once. So how do we get in touch with you, Crofty? Big projects, small projects, everything in between. It's spring, so I'm sure you're going to be booking up quickly.
Oh, for sure. I'm looking out the window. I think it's spring, but let's not go into that rabbit hole. The best way to get a hold of us is to give us a call at 306-586-1333. Please follow us on all socials. Keep track of everything that's going on there. And then, of course, we have a beautiful website at www.croftelectric.com.
Dan Croft, Croft Electric, or Crofty, as we like to call him. Thank you so much for the time, man.
You bet. Have a great call.
Thanks so much. Take care. Coming up next on the other side of your news, we have Darian Durant. So you're going to want to hang tight for that. This is the Sports Cage, and it's on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Picture this, a crust so golden it could blind a superhero. Toppings piled higher than a stack of pancakes on a trampoline. Every bite, a flavor explosion. Every slice, a hug for your taste buds. Garlic, roasted to perfection. Pepperoni, perfectly spicy. Western Pizza is so good, you'll argue who gets the last slice. Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today.
And get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
If you've got a Steelcraft garage door, you've got a door with parts manufactured and assembled right here in Canada. A door with better insulation and seal, plus a warranty you're probably never going to use. Combined with a LiftMaster opener, it's the right choice. And if you don't have a Steelcraft garage door, you should get one. And a LiftMaster opener. 100% made by Canadians for Canadians. Steady, tariff-free pricing and great quality, no matter what.
Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door. We offer more.
I'm Alina Young, Saskatchewan NDP MLA for Regina South Albert. The government's bad news budget will cost you more. Power rates are rising and there's no end to taxes on groceries and fuel. And 3 times more money is being spent to service the debt than on police. Clearly, change is needed. Saskatchewan NDP MLAs will make your life more affordable and make our communities safer and fix healthcare. Contact me at 306-545-0300.
The auction calendar is stacked at Ritchie Brothers this spring with 64 exciting unreserved auctions happening across Western Canada. Visit rbauction.com/agriculture to view a wide selection of used equipment from top brand manufacturers. You can also add items to your watch list, register for auctions, and bid online. You won't want to miss these great opportunities to get equipment you need. Head to rbauction.com/agriculture to register and be ready for the auctions.
When you play Sports Select, you're part of more than the game. You're backing over 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan funded through Sask Lotteries. So go ahead, make your picks at sportselect.com, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer. Every play is 100% legal, and every ticket supports your community. Sports Select. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly.
We are the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM Regina, a Harvard media station.
Good evening, I'm Tanner Wallace-Scribner from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with 620 CKRM News for Echo Sound in Fort Capel. Stay connected with the new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711 and brought to you by Capital Automotive Group. Capital's 100K giveaway is back. See capital100k.ca for more information. The city of Regina is working on maintaining roads with the latest snow dumping on Monday. Daryl Massier, the City of Regina's Roadways Seasonal Operation Manager, says the city is currently focused on ice control on main roads.
So our focus is on our Cat 1 to 3 roads, our 1, 2s, and 3s. So all of our major roads, our major collectors, hospital routes, those type of roads, high speeds like Ring Road.
So far, the city has received about 3 to 4 centimeters of snow below earlier forecasts. When snowfall reaches 5 centimeters, plowing of priority routes would begin. Officials say snow routes are not expected to be implemented at this time. Fred Fox is bringing the story of the Marathon of Hope to communities across Saskatchewan during his spring speaking tour. He will share the personal memories of his brother Terry Fox and his historic 1980 run.
Terry and I are only a year apart in age, and I share what he was like then with some photos and a slide presentation as well, and most importantly, that determination, that hard work, that no-quit attitude that he had.
Fred's presentation includes stop at schools and public venues. Organizers say the goal is to educate and inspire new generations. The Marathon of Hope has raised over $1 billion for cancer research since it began. Saskatchewan's nursing union says more action is needed to address staffing shortages in healthcare. President Bryce Boyton welcomed a new task force framework but says it must be backed by funding. He says retention of experienced nurses remains the most urgent issue. He argues that the recent budget announcements focus too heavily on buildings rather than staffing. The union is urging the province to invest in safe staffing levels in workplace supports. Government officials say efforts are underway to strengthen recruitment and retention. The Saskatchewan government is continuing an out-of-province program to improve access to breast cancer testing. Officials say sending patients to Calgary has reduced urgent biopsy waitlists by more than 87%. Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell says extending the contract to 2027 will help maintain progress. More than 700 patients have already completed procedures through the program. The Saskatchewan Health Authority says patients are selected based on urgency, while efforts continue to expand services at home. That's 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620CKRM.com.
Picture this. You sit down to watch TV and suddenly your screen freezes harder than a triple axle. If you're ready for a smoother routine, Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer, has a better idea. Max TV Stream. More streaming, less buffering. A performance that actually sticks the landing. And while you're at it, glide into fast SaskTel internet and cell phone packages that are balanced, reliable, and make sense for your household. Smart entertainment, smart connectivity. Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Capel. EchoSound.ca.
Capital's 100K giveaway is back for 2026. The Capital Automotive Group is giving away $100,000 in cash and prizes with no strings attached. We're proud to be part of communities across Western Canada, and we know it's those communities that allow us to exist. So every once in a while, once a year to be exact, we're going to say thanks by giving away $100,000 in cash and prizes. To learn more and enter to win, check out capital100k.ca. Capital's 100K giveaway. Do not miss it.
Weather for next-gen coatings, spray coatings for truck bed liners, rocker panels, and more. Same company, new name. 1865 McCarra Street in Regina.
Snow winds down. Most of the flurries very light as we continue into the night. Even a little freeze and drizzle possible. Temperature backing down to around -10. The wind shifts around from the east into the northwest and backs down as well. Through the day on Tuesday, we'll have a little lingering cloudiness in the morning, turning partly sunny up to around -4 for the afternoon. A partly cloudy sky for Tuesday night, -10. And we are in and out of cloud cover over the next few days. Not much of a flurry threat. We'll keep a blanket 20% chance with a couple of disturbances passing by, but most of the time we're dry, cloud, and sunshine on Wednesday. The wind up a little bit on Wednesday too. The high at -2. We'll get right up against the freezing mark, looking for a high near -1 with a generally cloudy sky on Thursday. Best chance for any flurries is late Thursday, but we're still no worse than 20%. And staying cloudy into Friday, getting up to around 0, and then temperatures warm up a little bit into the weekend, back to average, mid-single numbers. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather meteorologist Phil Spivak.
For over 40 years, you've known them as Regina's trusted vehicle protection specialists. Now they're introducing the next gen of coatings. New name, new level of protection. They're now next gen coatings. 3 generations of their family have served your family, and that hasn't changed. Same owners, same commitment, ready for the next gen of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards. The company hasn't changed, just the name. Next Gen Coatings, 1865 McCarra Street. The next gen starts now.
At Kevin's Marine, the lineup is stacked and ready. Legendary Lund boats built for serious fishing and non-stop family fun. Stretch out, crank the tunes, and cruise in style on a brand new pontoon from Bentley or Crest. Or drop the throttle and make waves in a 4-wind sport boat. All powered by trusted Mercury 4-stroke motors. Right now, manufacturer rebates, dealer discounts, and low payment financing. Make decking easy with Shoremaster aluminum docks and lifts. Visit Kevin's Marine in Fort Capel or kevinsmarine.com.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Smokem Diesel in Regina. So you want to do it yourself? No problem. We sell injection pumps, injectors, and turbos to fit all your needs. Find us on Facebook today. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Appreciate you being here for the Monday edition of the Sports Cage. I'm your host, Tegan Whitco, joined by Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, and, of course, Mr. Colson Schultz, who is in a bit of a pickle right now, facing his wife in his fantasy basketball final, and he's not sure. Her birthday's this week.
Yeah.
Should he whip her or let her win? You can let us know. Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. Of course, the show brought to you by Smokem Diesel. For all your diesel parts and repair needs, contact Smokem Diesel. Genuine OEM replacement diesel parts. They do not sell junk. And I think we should probably just take a quick look at our sprinkle of the day here. It's brought to you by Sports Select. This is an opportunity to get in on more of the sports action. It's as easy as going to their website. Do it on your phone, sportselect.com. Make your picks, generate your QR code, go to your local lotto spot retailer, and boom, submit. Every bet 100% legal with a chance of winning cash in hand. Sports Select, when you're ready to play or bet on the original. You got to be 18 plus and you must play responsibly. And they do have futures too, but I want to start with tonight's game between the Toronto Blue Jays and Colorado Rockies. I have a pretty good idea who the favorite's going to be here, but we'll see if I'm wrong.
It has to be the Jays, doesn't it?
It would have to be, especially coming off of opening series 3-game sweep over the A's, which, granted, a lot of people are calling the start of their season soft. I don't necessarily agree. I think the Athletics are going to be one of those teams that surprises people a bit.
Athletics are going to score some runs this year, I believe.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so Toronto, again, off. Let's face it, the Rockies have been awful lately. But the
last couple seasons,
they always can surprise. They always can surprise. So there's that.
But it does make sense that they are the favorite. I mean, maybe some extra motivation starting their 50th season, watching that banner being raised during the home opener on Friday night. But you could sense the disappointment on some of these guys' faces. They wanted that to read World Series champs.
Oh, they did. It was.
I think that game's tomorrow, right?
Good celebration. What's that? The Rockies?
Yeah.
Rockies and Jays are tonight.
Why don't I see it? Is it already started?
5:07.
Yes, 4 minutes ago.
There we go.
Oh, that would explain
That's
it.
why you can't see it.
I had it pulled up here as we were listening to the news.
Oh, so
that would explain. So I was
trying to
like,
get the
we'll
buzzer
talk
beater
about
in.
this. Well, yeah, something like that. Why don't we look at the futures? I want to see where we're at with them winning the whole thing.
The
this
Jays
season.
in the World Series.
Imagine that.
That would be very interesting.
You know what?
The Jays weren't listed very highly, though, at the start of the year, right? The Dodgers were up there when we looked at her last week. The Yankees are there, and they still
bumped
are.
up.
Yeah. They've jumped up a little, yeah.
So they're 5th now. What were they, 6th or 7th last week?
Yeah.
7th, I think, paying 15-1.
Okay, so now 13.
To 1, yeah.
Behind the Mets, Mariners, Yankees, and Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to do a little sprinkle on that now, you might get some good value.
Yeah, no, you could. The one that I would really like to see show up on the screen, now, there's going to be a lot of things that happen in that Anaheim-Toronto game, like will there be fights? Will there be under-over the penalty minutes? Those would be good. The one under-over I would really like to see on here that I don't think that Sports Select does, I'll have to go to their website, sportselect.com, and make sure. But the over-under on Colson coming out unscathed after this fantasy basketball game with his wife. I think that there's a lot of under on that one. Like, it's not going to happen. But that's just me.
I feel like it's a battle. I'm sorry, buddy. You're not going to win either way. This is
pick
take the
battles,
L.
and I don't want to touch this one.
Yeah, take the L,
true.
move along, and just grin and bear it. It's fine.
There's no right answer here.
There isn't. No, there definitely isn't any right answer. But that was, our sprinkle of the day. I don't know how we landed there, but here we are. So now, why don't we head out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline? It's the pizza that's known worldwide for a reason, loaded with toppings of Western Canadian ingredients and always cooked to perfection. The one, the only, Darian Durant.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. At Campbell Safety Consulting, we work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program.
Well, hi, Darian. Happy Monday.
How you guys doing? Sorry I'm late.
Oh, it's all good. But now we have to put you on the spot just a little bit. I'm not sure if you heard us talking about Colson's dilemma.
No, I didn't. What's going on?
So Colson, he's in a fantasy basketball league, and he's in the final, and he is facing his wife.
Oh, my gosh.
Her birthday is also this week. Darian, what in the world does this guy do? I feel like it's a lose-lose.
Is he tanking?
No. I mean, look, if you're a competitor, then you win by any means necessary, and then you apologize later, right? I mean, that's just my mentality. I'll just tell her, look, babe, I get that, it's your special day and all that good stuff, but I'm such a competitor. I want to win at any and everything. So that's just me. But if you want peace in your household, or if she's a little feisty, then you may want to give it up to her.
Can I just I'd just like to go ahead and once again mention that January the 5th, 2005, I double skunked my wife in crib. Yes, the contractions were 27 minutes apart, but there you go. Take that.
My gosh.
I was just going to say, can I get this in writing just so I have evidence on my side
A
too?
permission slip from
Yeah.
Darian?
Oh, so you're going to put me on the spot and say, Darian told me to do that.
Just gave permission. Hey, Colson, it's amazing what a couple of presents can do to soften the blow after the fact.
Exactly.
Well, the CFL Combine was just in Edmonton this weekend, Darian, and prior to that, there was an announcement made. Of course, they had some awards to hand out prior to. One of them being Coach of the Year. Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Corey Mace takes home the hardware. And how much of a no-brainer was that to you?
Oh, 100% no brainer. I think what he's done since he's been the head coach of the Riders has just been phenomenal. And then last year, dealing with injuries, so many injuries, especially to the defensive backfield. And then, Trevor was a little banged up halfway through the season. For him to manage to go through that, keep the team playing at a high level, and then building enough cushion throughout the season to secure a home playoff game, to make sure that you can kind of raise the percentage of you getting to Cup. Because if you can get games at home, you definitely give yourself a better chance to get to the Grey Cup. So for him to accomplish all of those things, keep the team under wraps. And then when I was around those guys, just the level of respect that he has from his demanding of them, but at the same time gives them the freedom to kind of be men and be themselves and conduct themselves as pros. Just his all around demeanor, how he is, I definitely think he deserves it. And for him, like I said, to keep this team playing at such a high level throughout the season, he definitely deserves the award. There was no better coach this year, and well-deserved, Coach Mace.
Your former teammate, Jeremy O'Day, as well as his team, right? Paul Jones, Kyle Carson, Larry Dean, and Jordan Greenlee, all were recognized for being the best football operations department in the league. What would be the criteria when you look at that? What do they succeed at?
I mean, everything. I mean, they're the champs, right? And I think you can go back to when I'm not so sure that Craig may have been on the hot seat so much, but J.O. was kind of on the hot seat a few years ago. And a lot of fans wanted him out. They didn't think that he was doing a good job. And, so for him to kind of be on his way out, according to some fans, and then, reaching the pedestal a few years later, that itself just speaks volume on the what he was able to accomplish. And it seems like each and every year he's finding guys to replace starters. You can't keep everyone every year. So, when you lose guys to different teams, he's done a good job. That scouting department is always doing a good job of finding talent. You look at Dante Myers, Keyshawn Johnson, some of those receivers. The defensive backfield has stayed intact. But if you just look around this football time, there's a guy that seems to either go down, there's someone there to replace him and keep that level of play at a high level. So that's just a direct reflection of J.O., his staff, and those guys' ability to find talent and keep depth on that roster.
So I'm building my Madden fantasy team right now, right? So we get the expansion franchise. We're looking for our first GM, right? And so there's all the different attributes that they stack up, right? There's scouting. There's the opportunity and ability to sign players, re-sign players. There's the drafting. Which is most important in your eyes, if there is one that you can rate above the other?
I would put the ability to find players first, and then I would go with drafting and keeping the Canadian talent, making sure you have the type of Canadian talent you need to fill out the roster. I mean, like you look at the transition into Dante Myers and Keyshawn Johnson. These are guys that played at a CFL All-Star level, and who would have thought that when they first entered the league? So, I mean, he's definitely found talent, not only from the U.S., but you look at the Canadian depth as well. At the receiver position, the defensive back, the safety position, he's been able to just find guys to be able to fill out that roster. And not only that, just play at such a high level. So I definitely that you have on the guys get hurt every single year. That's just part of the game. And there's always a guy there to fill in as if, he's been there for 5-10 years, and there's no letdown at those positions. So, him being my former teammate, and then, me having to deal with him directly with contract negotiations and all, it was weird. But I've been in all facets of the game with J.O. I've been his teammate, and then I've dealt with him as an assistant GM, and now seeing him as the GM and having the success he's having now is just amazing to see.
It's not always a smooth transition. You know what I mean? From whether it's player to coach or player to management, J.O. seems to have done it well. I can't imagine. How did that transformation look in your eyes? Like you mentioned, you had to negotiate a contract with the guy.
Well, you have to be mentally strong. I mean, that's first and foremost. I mean, when your teammates, you're at others' houses, you have dinners, you're interacting as more so friends and teammates and business partners, so to speak. So it's a different type of reaction. But then once you make that transition over to the front office, now you have to kind of put those friendships aside. You have to, focus on the business part, make sure you're building a team in the right way. And I think he's so mentally strong that he was able to kind of separate himself from teammates, because it's not only me he had to deal with, right? I mean, it was myself, Dress, Getz, it was the whole crew of guys that had played with him previously. So for him to just, put the feelings to the side, he didn't worry about our feelings, so to speak. And you can't do that when you're in the management spot. So I just think he's so mentally strong when it comes to dealing with the guys. He takes his feet out of it. That's for the team. And that's the only way you can have success as a GM, is if you just kind of take those personal feelings out, how you feel about a player, whatever relationship you've built with the guys. You have to let that go, and you have to do what's best for the team. And he's always done that.
And just to go back a little bit here to the importance of a coach that has a room, a coach that can lead from the front, a guy like Corey Mace. There's a situation in the NHL right now where a coach was just dismissed with 8 games remaining in the regular season. The team is in a playoff spot, and then they bring in someone brand new. What is that? How does that affect a room, having a change that late in the season? I know hockey and football are different,
tough.
but
I know, but I mean, when you're having success, your playoff team, and then you lose your coach, it's tough. I mean, and then a lot of the guys, you develop these relationships with your coach. You get to know them. You find what they like, how they expect you to play, and then you get another guy coming in that's that authoritative figure, and he's trying to tell guys to do. If you're not enough as a player, you're still upset that the previous coach left. So you may not want to hear so much that the new coach what he has to say. So it's a difficult situation for sure. I think only the strongest teams mentally are able to get through times like that. And I think the more experience you get, the older you get, more things you go through as a professional, then you kind of understand that that's just part of the business. You can't let it affect you. You have to focus on playing the game. And, that's the main thing. You have to keep that at the forefront of your brain. It's just, I'm here to play. I can't control what happens in the front office, and I just do my job each and every day.
Now, it would seem from the outside looking in that the way that these two coaches work with one another is very different. For example, the one coaching style, they call it player friendly, or very much a player's coach. And the other coach seems to be more authoritative, comes in, it's my way or the highway, so to speak. When you're dealing with two differences, right? Like you played for Ken Miller at one point, you played for other coaches that, had that other reputation. What is that like as an athlete? Because you, end of the day, got to work with them. You're the star player.
Yeah, that's what it goes back to what I said about being mentally prepared for situations like that, and being prepared for the different type of coaches that exist. I mean, like you said, Coach Miller, he was more so of a player's coach. Was spoken, raise his voice at all, and some guys took to that, and then some guys may need a kick up the rear end sometimes to get motivated and to get going. So, it's an individual thing. I had the opportunity to play for all types of coaches. So I was cursed out by coaches. I was catered to coaches. I was let go by certain coaches, and certain coaches didn't like me. So I was able to experience it all. And I think that, if you're dealing with a coach, especially a coach like Coach Mace, who has pretty much seen it all, he's had success at every stop he's made. And I think he lets the guys know that, look, I'm gonna let you be who you are as long as I see 100% effort from you. You're doing everything you're asked, and you're conducting yourself like a pro. So I think those are the coaches that are most respected, the ones that can turn that switch on and off, but at the same time, they have the respect of the players every single day, and they allow the players to be themselves as long as you're getting the best out of each player.
I know they say respect is earned. If you're a coach, do you automatically get respect and the room has to accept that one way or the other?
Initially, you do. Initially, I think every coach has the team. They have everyone's attention. They have, the respect to go out there and do their job to the best of their ability. The thing is, but as the season goes and you kind of get a feel for really what type of guy they are, how they conduct themselves, if they're really how they say they are, if they're pulling your leg a little bit, you can see the fakeness in a coach as the season goes. And I think those are the guys that are less respected, the ones who kind of put on a facade and they're not with themselves. They're doing it for the, so to speak. And the ones who really gain your respect are the ones who kind of stay themselves. They never change, and they make sure that they lay everything out from day one as to what they expect from you. Once you're a coach that does that, and you are a man of your word, and you really, really show the guys that you're there for them, and you'll really take care of them as long as you get that 100% effort, then those are the coaches that you get the most respect towards.
Darian, can I go get your on-field perspective for a minute? This weekend was the first weekend Major League Baseball had instant replay, right? So guys are giving themselves concussions, tapping on their head over and over again. But the dynamic that makes me curious is that when you're questioning a call, obviously you have to have some kind of rapport with the official. So, for example, in a CFL game, if you challenge a call, right, the official can be upset that you're challenging it or whatever, but there always seems to be conversations, and more often than not, I would suggest that they're respectful, even with the official coming into the huddle during a timeout. What is that situation and game flow like with officials on the field in professional sports?
Well, I think at this point in time, officials and coaches, they understand that they're human and they can make mistakes. And when you're dealing with professional athletes, guys are so big, strong, and fast that, things can just happen. And you may think you've seen something, but that's really not what you saw. And replay is the only way that you can get a definitive answer. So, I think as far as football refs go, they understand that they can't see it all. There are different angles. If you think about, a 6'7", 330-pound offensive lineman, the referee's trying to kind of look through those guys and see what's going on, holding penalties or hands to the face or things like that. So you can make mistakes. So I don't think any pride comes into play with the officials. They understand how fast the game moves. They understand that they're human, and mistakes always happen. And I think as far as football goes, over time, we've seen that replay is needed in most cases. Especially, I've never liked the pass interference replay. I think that, that sometimes that, unless it's egregious and it's just obvious, but I these touchy fouls and things like that, I don't really like how you can go back and check that out. But, it's just part of being human, and all humans make mistakes. And I think that a lot of officials understand that.
So occasionally there's a disagreement, right?
Of course.
So only occasionally.
But in your experience, can those disagreements carry over like game to game, week to week? I may not see official XYZ for 3 more weeks, but then I see them again. They're still holding a grudge against me because of a perceived missed call, or does that stuff just get washed away at the pro level?
Well, look, I think these guys love their jobs enough that they don't want to hold any grudges and make a wrong call and then lose their jobs, right? That can happen if you kind of keep these feelings inside and you want to retaliate against a coach or something like that. I think their job is a lot more important than get back, so to speak. But at the same time, though, as a coach, when you go into a game, when we used to have meetings the day before the game, we would get the list of officials, and the coach lets the team know, look, this guy is he calls a lot of holding penalties, or this guy has a short fuse and he'll call an unsportsmanlike conduct if you just say the wrong thing. And then other officials will let you get away with a lot more. So coaches do a good job of looking at the officiating list, the guys, and what their tendencies are, and they let us know pre-game, so we know going into that game, that this referee has a short fuse. He'll throw a flag quickly, or maybe you can get away with a little bit more with this official. So going into the game willing with the into.
Well, before we let you go here, Darian, I gotta ask, March Madness this weekend, Final Four. Did you catch the UConn buzzer beater to knock out Duke? Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Break that down.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, as a UNC guy, there's no better feeling in the world than to see Duke lose in such heartbreaking fashion. I mean, especially them being up 15 points. And, I think that all they had to do was hold the ball. They try to advance the ball up court, get it stolen, and then for a shot to be from almost half court to just crush Duke. It just made me feel so good inside. So I'm so happy about that. Thank goodness UConn took care of the Dukies, because there's been a lot of talk since we fired our head basketball coach this past week about how we've kind of fallen off as one of the big time programs in basketball, in college basketball. So to see Duke go down, it was a great feeling. But aside from that, it was a great game, and that's what March Madness is about, man. It's about the buzz. It's about neutral courts, no home court advantage, and anything can happen. And that's exactly what we saw.
Well, I look forward to breaking down the Final Four this upcoming weekend when we chat next week.
Yep, it'll be fun. Looking forward to it.
I like it. Thank you so much, Darian Durant, joining us. Double Talk with Darian Durant every single Monday. You don't want to miss this conversation weekly. Okay, well, I think we do need to take a quick break. Double Talk with Darian, by the way, is brought to you by Campbell's Safety Consulting. Does your workplace have a proper safety program? If not, call Campbell's Safety Consulting. We'll take a quick break, and we still have your sports ticker on the way, and we also have Patch Chat, so hang tight. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports, 620 CKRM, and streaming at sportscage.com.
Do you have a safety program or OHS committee? Call Campbell Safety. Harassment in the workplace? Call Campbell Safety. Don't know if you have a proper safety program? Call Campbell Safety. Once you have an injury, it's too late to have a safety program. Be proactive with Campbell Safety Consulting. They'll come out and customize your safety program and be that extra set of eyes you need. 35 years experience doing health and safety, and they have seen it all, and then some. Call them today and get a free consultation. Campbell Safety Consulting.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
March Madness is here. NHL playoffs, big golf tournaments, and what are you doing? Watching humans chase balls while your stomach cries for mercy. A crust so golden it could win MVP, and toppings piled higher than the coach's stack of playbooks. Pepperoni flying like pucks on ice. Garlic taking a victory lap around your tongue. Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today.
And get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
I'm Joan Prachler, Saskatchewan NDP MLA for Regina Rochdale. 78,000 Saskatchewan children are living in poverty. That's a higher rate than anywhere else in Canada. As a grandmother, this breaks my heart. It's time for a government that will deliver change. Saskatchewan NDP MLAs are focused on making life more affordable for families. Contact me, 306-531-3125.
You cut the grass, we'll cut the deal at Brandt Agriculture. Get 0% financing for 84 months, plus cash rebates and bonuses on select John Deere turf equipment. Save on compact utility tractors, riding lawnmowers, and utility vehicles. Get it from people who get it. Offer ends April 30th, 2026. Some restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
Hi, Sean here from the Rusty Shovel. We've moved to a brand new location on the East Vic Service Road. Bigger displays, more products, everything you need for your next outdoor project. Paving stone, artificial turf, sprinklers, you name it, we've got it. We'll help you plan it, price it, and load it, or connect you with the right contractor. And we'll be showing off our products at the Spring Home Show, so come say hi. Visit therustyshovel.ca or come see us on the East Vic Service Road. Great projects start at the Shovel. The Rusty Shovel Landscape Shop. 2 green thumbs up.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steel Craft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
So in case you missed it, SJHL playoffs, they go tonight. Yorkton in Melville. 7 o'clock, Terriers lead that best-of-7 series 3-2. Winner will be playing the Bombers. It's Flin Flon. Nipawin Hawks in Weyburn taking on the Red Wings 7 o'clock tonight. Weyburn on top 3-2 in that series. And Battleford's North Stars will be awaiting the winner of that series. World Men's Curling Championship, Canada back in the win column. Matt Dunstone and his Winnipeg rink rolled to a 9-2 win over Poland this morning, pulling away with a finish that ended the game early. So now Canada 3-2, and they have a matchup against Japan coming up later tonight at 7 o'clock. Let's see NHL action. 3 Canadian teams going at it tonight. Calgary Flames in Colorado taking on the Avs. And then you have the Canucks in Vegas taking on the Golden Knights for Tortorella's debut after they fired Bruce Cassidy. Toronto Maple Leafs in Anaheim facing the Ducks, and it has been confirmed by Colson, Radko Gudas will be dressing for this game. So interested to see if anything's going to happen there. First matchup since the Matthews hit that effectively ended his season. Major League Baseball regular season continues tonight. Second series for the Toronto Blue Jays gets underway as they welcome in the visiting Colorado Rockies. Cody Pons will be on the mound to make his Jays debut. And I must admit, before we get to that quick, sportscage.com poll about that John Tortorella hiring in Vegas. The swapping of the head coaches, is that going to make a difference for the Golden Knights votes? At sportscage.com, that's your sports ticker for Steelcraft doors, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians. Okay, so back real quick to the Toronto Blue Jays. Of course, the Jays sweep that opening series. Started 3-0 for only the third time in history. Last time, 1992. The Jays went 6-0, and then it happened a couple of other times, of course. Now, the last time Toronto started 3-0, they won the World Series. 1992.
Yes, they did.
Also, our Ag News director, Ryan Young, this is completely his thought process, not mine, because I'm not going to jinx anything here. But Ryan Young, our Ag News director, pointed out something interesting to me last week. So with all this talk of the 2027 MLB lockout, a potential lockout, what happened the year before that lockout?
With the Expos and the Jays?
And the Jays won the World Series?
Yes, that's right.
So, just saying, odds are kind of in their favor. Only 3 games into the season that they will be opening up that second set. And here's the thing. The Dodgers are next week, so I think people are really going to care about that one. Then it might fall off for a little bit because there's 160-plus games in the regular season. That's a lot of baseball to be watching, but I can't remember the last time people cared this much about the Jays this early in the season.
Ooh, you raise a great point. You're right. Jays' popularity is, I won't say all-time high, but it's up there. And
would you say like that 92 era would have been more so?
I think probably 93. 92 they won, right? Then 93 they won back-to-back, right?
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of heightened expectations and a lot of excitement around the team then. I think 93 was probably higher than 92, even though just because they finally got over the hump and won in 92. But 93, right, they brought in the other guys, right, because Dave Winfield retires, so you bring in Paul Molitor and players like that. So I just think that there's a lot of excitement around Toronto, and I think there's a lot of people that have booked trips to see the Blue Jays play this year in various ballparks.
Well, and not to get political here or anything, but a lot of people have been talking about taking more vacations within Canada.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that Toronto Pearson International Airport is going to be a very busy place this summer.
Yeah, with a lot of green for the Riders and then blue for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, because those are the only jerseys that we're going to see in that city.
The Riders aren't going to Toronto, though.
No, they're not. But
Toronto's coming here.
Twice. Toronto likes us so much that they want to be us, so they're going to play a game here trying to do that.
Well, and we were also talking a little bit about the strike zone challenges earlier in the show and the replay.
Yeah.
And at first, I forgot that this was even being implemented. So I immediately looked up, okay, how many do they get in a game? The number is 2.
Yes.
So I kind of like it. We did get a text in on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 306-936-6262. This is from Dean. This is when we initially brought up, replays and some of the changes coming in this MLB season. Dean said, I'm not a big fan of instant replay in sports, but after watching some Blue Jays baseball this weekend, the MLB has it right. Not only is the decision made in less than 10 seconds, but the fans can see it in real time as well. The CFL should really take some lessons from them. Dean in Regina.
You know what? I was very skeptical about it. Very, very skeptical about it.
But I think everyone was. No one likes change.
I'm with Dean, and it's 2 incorrect, right? So long as you're right, you can keep going until you get 2 incorrect. So you obviously don't want to blow them in the first inning. But I think it's pretty intriguing, and I'm going to be very curious what the success rate for challenges is.
And it's a hard angle too, right? If you're calling it from, like, I guess you can only have so many people challenge it.
It's just the batter, pitcher, or catcher.
Yeah, or catcher. So, because I was also thinking logistically, how is that going to work from the dugout? But you need to be, but then you also need to have that trained eye to understand, is that actually out of the strike zone? Because if you get too wrong, you blow it. And what if there is an egregious, poor call made, bottom of the 9th inning, that loses you a game?
See, and that's what I love about this. Number one is that you don't get the benches involved because you've got 2 seconds to challenge, right? And the other thing that I absolutely, so they're not involved. And the other thing that I think baseball does wrong is the fact that you can request more challenges late in a ball game, right? So even if you're wrong and you lose your challenge, you can still request one late. But here it's not. It's 2 and you're done.
Yeah.
So you've got to use that strategically. You've got to trust the guy that's doing it. And again, like I said, I'm going to be curious what the success rate is, because I think it's going to be pretty high, because you're not going to challenge unless you know.
Yeah.
And you got to be fast.
Yeah.
Split second.
Couple things I've seen on this. When they were doing it in the spring training, trying it out and everything, the Brewers actually set up a system where the bench was helping, which then got, after one game, got cut out. Basically, the bench did the math of, in these specific situations, so it's a 1-1 count, guy on second, whatever, how advantageous is it for us to challenge if it's successful or not, right? They did all of that math and then said, if it's an advantageous challenge in this position, they would put a green card up on the wall for the pitcher, batter, whatever to see. Then if it's not, there would be no card. So they would throw the pitch, they would look up, there's no card, don't challenge here, no matter what you think. If there's a card, you're okay to challenge if you're allowed to, if you think it's worth the challenge. So they did all that math. After one game, MLB's like, no. Pitcher, catcher, batter only. No help.
Yes.
Which I am in favor of. That's how it should be. That's thing one. Thing two, they had to measure all of the players, right, to get all of their strike zones. So a lot of the players' heights have been corrected.
Isn't that true? I forgot about that. Yeah.
And so here's a tweet that I saw out. So the tweet that I'm showing here right now is reading, in the MLB, they're all short kings now. I checked the height of every hitter against their past listed heights.
They were all wrong, right?
Due to stringent ABS measurements, MLB lost the equivalent of 3 Aaron Judges, who is 6'7". And one of the player quotes was, I didn't know we were going to get exposed like that. There was a couple players who went from being 6'1" to 5'10".
Yeah.
And that hurts the ego.
Yeah, a little bit.
So that's the part where I am laughing out of all of this, which totally understand. You got to get everyone's strike zone. You got to be exact on it. I get that. And the guys are getting exposed. Ouch.
And like I say, like, because it's all automated, right? That's great. Like, there's nobody sitting in a replay command center that has to make the call. It's like, no, it's like tennis, right? From what I understand, they use much of the same technology as tennis. And I haven't seen what it looks like in stadium, but you can hear the fans cheering. Like, very often the umpires aren't switching on their mics to talk. So obviously the fans can follow along, which I think is brilliant.
I think they use a similar one in soccer as well, because they have a camera set up on the line of the goal. And if the ball fully crosses the plane of the goal, then yeah.
I think they do that for offside as well.
It's 2026.
Yeah.
This probably should have been implemented a while ago, but there was also an uproar when they decided to implement a pitch clock.
Yes.
So I
Baby
think
steps.
Yeah,
Baby
baseball purists maybe don't love all of the changes, but I think it was great. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to really add that added element, especially once you get to the postseason. And also, real quick, can I just mention, after Bo Bichette went on his merry way, seeing him get booed in New York with only his 3rd game of the season, talk about being humbled. I mean, he was struggling at the plate for sure, but I mean, Toronto sports media probably not feeling as intense anymore. Welcome to New York, Bo.
Sign the big deal, have to perform, right?
I mean, if you're wanting to go somewhere quieter, though, why would you go to New York?
Well,
I think it was
when
more
you're
for
gonna
money.
when you're going to be paid a couple of bucks, you might go anywhere, right?
Entirely valid, but
Yeah.
if in your head you're like, I want to go somewhere quieter. New York. First place on the list.
He did acknowledge, he goes, I am playing bad, so he should boo me. But
Yeah, I think his quote post game was something along the lines of, I expected it to happen sooner.
yeah.
So he knew it was coming. Like, you have to know when you become a Met, this is the type of environment that you were bringing upon yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it works.
While we're talking baseball, did you guys see the cool John Schneider story that came out? I think it was this weekend.
Got a nice little letter before the start of the season.
So for those who are unaware, Steve Kerr, multiple-time NBA champion, but 4-time champion as the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, sent John Schneider a letter during the after Game 7 of the World Series, basically just saying, hey, saw what you did. You looked incredible. I completely understand the heartbreak. He points out I believe it was 2016 when they lost to Cleveland in Game 7, and that was actually they were up 3-1, and Cleveland came back to beat them, so that one hurt a little extra. So he's like, hey, I totally understand the pain, but the loss won't define you. The way you and your guys carry themselves afterwards will. I'm like, that's awesome.
That's pretty cool. I mean, there was also...
Especially for two guys that have no prior connection, right?
Yeah.
But everyone was watching that World Series game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was an article it was more of a letter from Ernie Clement that was posted on The Athletic or the Players Tribune or something like that last week before the start of the regular season for the Jays. And he talked about all of that, where he came from, his upbringing, how he got where he is, AHL, his inspiration, and then just everything that transpired leading up to the 18-inning game.
Yes.
Which, let's not forget, that was insane.
That was insane, yeah.
Like, thinking back to the end of last season, the postseason specifically, they went through it.
Yep.
But he still shows up, smile on his face, ready to go. I'm a big Ernie fan, if you can't tell. So, and that, I think it's probably because I read that letter. Now I'm a bit biased.
Okay.
I understand where he comes from a bit more.
Can I share breaking news from the Blue Jays?
Sure.
Cody Ponce, today's starter, is just left in the top of the third. He was trying to chase down a ball on the way to first. Looks like he hyperextended his knee. They brought out the cart. He's out of the game. So for folks that were concerned about the 8 starting pitchers that they had, and again, most are not healthy right now, Cody Ponce did not look good the way that he tried to stop. He dropped the ball and he tried to stop, and you don't stop that quickly on AstroTurf sometimes. And I really feel for pitchers at Rogers Center because a lot of them are still wearing their steel cleats on the mound.
Yeah.
And then they have to go and run on the carpet where there's not as much give as there would be if there was grass and dirt, like in every other ballpark except Tampa Bay.
Like I said, over 160 games in the season.
There you go.
So, and in the first series, 50 strikeouts is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
That's
the
starting
impressive.
pitching still came in clutch. Yeah, granted, there's some now apparently more guys banged up. And
Jeff Hoffman blew a save in Game 1 of the season, but again, it's not like we didn't see that in Game 7. But I'm kidding. I'm not carving him. I am not.
You know what?
My mission right now, my mission to do better this year is Davis Schneider. My mission to do better is Davis Schneider. I think if he does better, and I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying that he's very much found a niche, right? Like he'll come in against left-handed pitching and he'll play okay against
that. Is the most politically correct pivot.
Thank you.
He found his niche.
Well, he did find his niche, and he found his way onto the roster. And I like I said, I just don't know.
Did you also see in the when they did their grand opening ceremonies or whatever, they got his name wrong?
They went out of order.
They
went out of order. They skipped over him, and that was brought to my attention by a number of people that texted Dave. Wow, did you have anything to do with this? And I'm like, no, I didn't touch it. But
Don't
I
have
wish.
that kind of pull.
No, I thought it was interesting.
I looked for that video and I could not find it. I was disappointed I could not find it.
Oh, so good.
Do we want to hear John Schneider's comments though on the 50 strikeouts?
Yeah, sure.
I did grab that.
Hit me. I mean, I'm always going to be talking about the successes of the Jays.
Just back to the strikeouts for a second. The 50 is a record. Nobody's ever done that in the major leagues in the first 3 games of the season. Can you comment on what it's like for your guys to do something that's never been done before?
That's always cool, just because this game is such a such a historical game. So I think Pete has a clause in his contract that may have just escalated, may have just triggered. But it's fun to watch, you know what I mean? It's fun to watch the whole collective effort, you know, in terms of putting a plan together and then going to execute it, making sure it's right, you know what I mean, and then executing it. Yeah, man, it's fun to be part of that because this game is the best thing in the world, you know, and to be part of something like that is really cool. And there's a lot of people that go into it. You know, the pitchers get all the credit because they go do it, but there's so much work that gets done behind the scenes that people don't see that we feel really, really good about.
I'm feeling pretty good about this season, too.
You know what? Yes, I am optimistic on this season, even though I am having fun at Davis Schneider's expense.
Well, some of us are choosing to be positive, Dave.
I am
Thank
positive
you, Colson.
that Davis Schneider could be our Achilles heel.
Okay, let's take a break.
I'm joking.
My goodness.
Stop texting.
Well, you can call them out even more. Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. It is the Monday edition of the Sports Cage, brought to you by Smoke'em Diesel. If you're a fix-it-yourself type of person, Smoke'em Diesel can supply you with injectors, injection pumps, turbos, and all diesel hard parts. Genuine OEM replacement diesel parts. They don't sell junk. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a second here. It is the Sports Cage, and it's on the home of local sports. 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
You cut the grass, we'll cut the deal at Brant Agriculture. Get 0% financing for 84 months, plus cash rebates and bonuses on select John Deere turf equipment. Save on compact utility tractors, riding lawnmowers, and utility vehicles. Get it from people who get it. Offer ends April 30th, 2026. Some restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
I'm Joan Pratchler, Saskatchewan NDP MLA for Regina Rochdale. 78,000 Saskatchewan children are living in poverty. That's a higher rate than anywhere else in Canada. As a grandmother, this breaks my heart. It's time for a government that will deliver change. Saskatchewan NDP MLAs are focused on making life more affordable for families. Contact me, 306-531-3125.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262 for Prairie Land Rentals. Renting heaters, skid steers, and most power tools for all those winter jobs. And your official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street, where you deal with the owner. This is Sports Cage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Yeah, welcome back. Monday edition of the Sports Cage. My name's Tegan Whitco. I'm here with voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, Dave Thomas. Colson Schultz, keeping us on track all afternoon long. 3 hours, and we almost got to everything I wanted to talk about. And then I'm going to drive home and say, oh, yeah, there was 10 other things that I meant to bring up. That's what you get on Mondays. I love it. Monday show brought to you by Smoke'em Diesel as well. And join in the conversation anytime on the Prairie Land Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. Even our pal Greg messaged us letting us know Corey Chamberlain, defensive coordinator for the UFL St. Louis Battlehawks. Watched a game over the weekend, was surprised to see him on the sideline.
Yeah, he got named to the spot just after Christmas, actually. So good on Corey.
Yeah. Like to see those familiar faces. But I did want to take a little bit of time here before we run out of it to talk about March Madness. So did you do a bracket this year, Dave?
I filled one out because I was pressured into it.
Was there money on the line?
Great thing. I think I paid like $5 or something.
You know what? I was guilted into doing a Survivor pool, and I don't even watch the show. So I feel ya. I still don't know if my guy's in it. If anybody knows if Coach is still on...
Coach is still going. He's a Dragon Slayer.
I'm sorry, what?
Coach calls himself the Dragon Slayer.
I was told he's a little unique.
He's a character.
Didn't realize he was falling into Dragon Slayer category. Okay, didn't realize you were also a Survivor fan, but good to know. March Madness.
Yes. Let's talk about March Madness.
I think everyone's bracket is busted at this point. I did a little research over the weekend because this is apparently how I like to spend my spare time. But the odds of filling out a perfect bracket, 1 in 9 quintillion.
That's a big number. There's a lot of zeros on that one.
Don't even ask me how many. So 1 in 9 quintillion. So you have better odds of having sextuplets, being eaten by a shark, Being struck by lightning not once but twice.
Yeah.
That is 1 in 19 million. And then flipping heads, like a coin.
Yeah.
Flipping heads 20 straight times. That's 1 in 1.4 million.
Sounds like we got a challenge tonight. Let's see how many we can flip this coin here.
So that's how you like to spend your free time?
Apparently so.
At least mine's a little bit more fun.
Yeah, true.
Quick, easy explanation on quintillion. So you know what a billion is.
Mm-hmm.
Times that by 1,000, you get a trillion.
Mm-hmm.
By 1,000, you get a quadrillion. By 1,000, you get quintillion.
Quintillion. I knew it was a big number.
I'm a visual person, so I can't figure that out.
See if I can grab a graphic in 60 seconds.
Yeah, because we are running out of time here. But I just wanted to make everybody feel better. If your bracket got busted nice and early, those are the odds we're working with here. I mean, no one would have predicted that UConn win. No one would have thought that they were going to knock off Duke in the way that they did. They came back from 19 to advance to the Final Four with a 0.3-second buzzer beater at the end of the game. Mullins has got to be feeling pretty good today. Or maybe not so good because they celebrated a bit too hard. But they got a week to recover.
True. They do.
Yeah, next Saturday, or this upcoming Saturday Final Four, Illinois versus UConn, Michigan versus Arizona. So in that first one, Illinois 3 seed, UConn 2 seed, and then you have the 2 first seeds in that other matchup. So I'm curious to see who's going to take this all. Oh, look at that. Colson coming in clutch. If you're watching the stream, we have a visual.
It's a big number. That's all we got.
It's if you're listening on the radio, I'm sorry. That was quick math.
Thank you.
Okay.
18 zeros.
18-0. That's insane. When you put it on a piece of paper like that, I can kind of understand it a little bit better. Bottom line, I wouldn't have won.
No.
I didn't even bother doing
Me neither.
a pool this year. Okay, we got to wrap her up. I'm getting the sign from Colson. Thanks for spending the time with us on this Monday installment of the Sports Cage, brought to you by Smoke'em Diesel. Hope you can join us for the rest of the week and next Monday, of course. Thank you for coming along for the ride. On behalf of Colson and Dave and myself, good night from the Sports Cage studio on the corner of 12th and Rose.
You've been outside all day, smiling like you won the lottery. What did you buy?
I bought 2 sets of razors.
2 razors. What are you doing out there, shaving before and after supper?
Dutch Razor Series openers. Not for my face, for my drill. Andrew at Dutch Egg set me up. Said they eliminate placement issues.
Well, I do appreciate a smooth operation.
The Dutch Razor Series openers. Built to eliminate placement problems and get it right the first time. Visit DutchOpeners.com. Dutch Agriculture. On farm for you.
Hi, Sean here from the Rusty Shovel. We've moved to a brand new location on the East Vic Service Road. Bigger displays, more products, everything you need for your next outdoor project. Paving stone, artificial turf, sprinklers, you name it, we've got it. We'll help you plan it, price it, and load it. Or connect you with the right contractor. And we'll